Whoa, what happened? My intro? No, that wasn't supposed to happen.
It's the multiverse, bro.
We're gonna do that one more time. Wait, Lavis, this is gonna be an intro. There's actually a good intro, quality intro by Danny from Comics. There we go, much better. Look at me dancing. Yeah.
It's Saturday and the time is 1 o'clock. Chimunga's ready, so the beat steady, so the flow got a beat too. You like my intro, so I made one just for you. Chillmonger, he be from the north. 33 questions, you got no other choice but to check him out and feel his vibe. He got one of the hottest shows alive. So have a seat and tune in. Chill is ready, so let's begin. 33 fire questions. Chillmonger made these questions. Please check out these questions. Saturday, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't you miss it. Don't miss it. Peace.
Right at 33, burning Star Wars questions. Joining me today on the right, Hawks Holocrons. Hello there.
What's up, man? How's it going?
And then making his debut on the Chillmonger channel, we got Lavis from the Main Authority.
What it is, y'all. What it is.
What's up, Lavis?
What it is, man.
Okay, man.
You know how it is. You know how it is.
Today, we're asking 33 questions. No Kenobi spoilers, okay? None of that. No one's gonna. If you guys know what they are, I don't care if the YouTuber you heard it from said just take it with a grain of salt. We're not taking it at all. No Kenobi spoilers. Question number 1: when has it stopped being Jabba's palace and became Boba's? I'm gonna say that it never stopped becoming Jabba's palace. It's always been Jabba's. Like no matter what we want to do, no matter how much of the show does, 40 years of it being Jabba's palace isn't gonna just switch over and have fans like they tried to do with Rey's lightsaber. It's Anakin's, and nothing you say, I know branding will change that. Not for a while.
This is true. I feel like that's true, especially with the fact that he had 2 of his people show up, talk about we about to take this over, take this back. Excuse me, take this back. I feel like it was never his then in the first place. People feel they have claim to it, but probably by the end of the show, I guess it's his since they left. So at the end of the show,
at the end of Boba Fett, episode 7, it becomes Boba's palace.
Yeah,
it took a while.
I'm kind of going with Chillmonger, and I also like the term palace. Like, how many years does it really take for a palace to change names? Also, the twins. I mean, they're still out there. Just because they said they're not gonna fight now or quarrel now, like the Hutts are still a thing. So, as far as they're concerned, I'm pretty sure it's still Jabba's palace.
The question here was, when has it stopped being Jabba's palace and it became Boba Fett's palace?
When Boba Fett killed Bib Fortuna. I mean, when Jabba died, it was Bib Fortuna's after he took it.
Yeah.
So it stopped being Jabba's when Bib Fortuna took it, and then it became Boba's when he killed Bib Fortuna.
Okay, I feel like we've also there's like every aspect of ownership changing hands from the death part. That's how they used to do it back in the olden days. Kings would die, like who died and made you king. We got that aspect of it. Then we also got like legally who owns it because of the city stuff. We got the twins who are still around. We've touched on this in every aspect, and I like that we did that. But you gotta say, you gotta still, okay, you know how in the Staples Center changed names to Crypto.com Arena or something like that? We still call it the Staples Center. In Toronto, they have the Skydome. They renamed it to whoever it was who bought it. Everyone goes with the old thing. You think of Madison Square Garden can just like stop being called Madison Square Garden? No, never. Fenway Park is always Fenway Park.
I mean, it can still be Madison Square to you, but new ownership, change the name is something new.
It's just a sign. It's just a formality.
If you buy it, it's yours. If you buy it, you can make whatever you want. Someone can buy Star Wars and call it War Star, and then we gotta call it War Star.
Can you imagine that?
No.
Yeah, please don't.
War Star, the next new trilogy.
Bro, Elon Musk could be watching. Don't give him ideas.
You ain't done bought Twitter.
It's in the same realm as Boba's Starship. Yeah, that's true. We got the Star Wars obsession who is in the building. Hello there.
Hey,
Oh, how did I get in here?
Oh, man.
You got the link. Everyone's showing up. Also got
No, wrong one.
hey.
one
Hey.
second.
What
One
up?
second.
He took the ship without me.
Oh man, I ain't know, brother. I'm sorry.
Sure, about to join you. Hold up.
It's Fennec's Palace. LOL. Has
Yeah,
Boba started
yeah,
getting his
yeah.
mail?
You're gonna
I
have
mean-
to move them next to each other now, too.
If I was a person on something, because Fennec does more work than Boba Fett. Yeah, it's Fennec's palace. She runs it. Boba just sits and does nothing.
Yo,
and get beat up.
aggressively, that was great.
It's Fennec's palace.
The question was, when does it stop being Jabba's palace and it became Boba's? Obsession?
I mean, wasn't it Bib's palace at that point? I mean, if it's not even Jabba's palace anymore, I mean, that's Bib's palace. Let's be real. If you're talking about ownership, Fat Bib was running that bitch.
I feel like there's a scene where Fennec was like Jabba's palace. Remember? Didn't she say that?
Yeah, but again, I mean, that's Jabba dead. I mean, when somebody when he dead, that's Bib's place. It may still belong to the Hutts, and the Hutts allowed him to reign there, but at that point, that's Bib's place. I renamed that with some fluorescent lighting. Bib's place right on the front door, so everybody knows. But I mean, I feel like once you get your own Rancor, that's your palace. Once you got a place to put the Rancor, that's your palace.
Right. Oh my! We got the newest member of the 1K Jedi Council in the building.
What up,
Hello there.
Chief?
Everybody on here.
I'm telling you.
Right.
Does he hear us?
Hold up, y'all.
Okay, wait. Can you hear us?
Oh, that's horrible. Now I can't see out.
That's better.
There we go.
There we go. Yeah, I
See,
might
this
try to teleport on out.
And this way we
Little
can.
smaller for you.
Fine.
It's better this way.
You can make something shake, man.
Your turn to answer the question. When does it stop being Jabba's palace? When does it become Boba's or Bib's?
Isn't it already?
See, some of us made.
A lot of people have been saying that already.
I feel like it's still Jabba's because when a team owns a sports arena, it takes a lot of time before we just start acclimating to the new name, right?
I mean, it's more like a changing of the management than.
I mean, do we
a
got
team changing.
do we have to change the decor? Do we got to paint and put the team colors on the wall and put some red and green on the wall and change up the throne? Put some Mandalorian-ish on there. I mean, what do we got to do to make it Boba's palace, though? I mean, what constitutes it being Boba's place? Because I feel like the bedroom is the bedroom where his back to tank was, where the flashback just came in. That room was real Boba because he had a droid that was helping him assemble his armor. It didn't look like a nasty ass hut was living in that room. So I kind of feel like it already is Boba's joint.
That's what I think.
Question number 2 is: was Shmi Skywalker dreaming of Anakin? We know Anakin had his dreams about her.
Probably not, but I don't know. I mean, she did have a kid through the Force. Who knows?
I would also say no because Palpatine was the one giving Anakin those nightmares, essentially, and I don't think he would have a reason to manipulate Shmi's mind at that point in time.
Yeah, she seems surprised.
She may have some memories of him as a kid before he left, but I don't think she was having these premonitions of his future or anything like that.
And she seems surprised. I mean, if you look at the reaction she had, she was like, "Oh, damn, you're all grown up." She was real surprised at him,
Right?
Because she still called him Little Annie, right? And it was very much a thing. So, yeah.
I always thought that she was lying about the whole, made out of midichlorians thing. I thought that maybe she had a little thing. I know there's a comic. I saw the comic book panel. I think that Hawks was about to mention to me now. But he did kind of manipulate that all to work out that way. So fine, we'll let it go. Well, we'll just believe her story for now. Believe all women, that kind of stuff. Yep. Question number 3 of 33 is: who's the biggest bully in Star Wars? See, the correct answer here is Boba, and I will accept no other answers. Right, K-Dot?
The biggest bully in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Saw Gerrera.
You're saying Boba?
Not
No,
Saga,
what's his name? Sabosa, the guy who was like pod racing with little Annie.
Saboba.
Saboba.
Yeah, I like that answer.
I mean, yeah, he was a bully. I mean, he was like what, probably 50 years old, picking on little kids and stuff. I'm better than you, and you trash. Yeah.
Hey, old man, I feel like
and stuff.
So I have kind of a different take on this. I'm gonna say Yoda was the biggest bully in Star Wars.
Oh,
Because look at how many people Yoda got to do his bidding and how that ended up. Look at all the Jedi that followed that dude around because they believed in what they were doing, only for it to get all screwed up by Anakin Skywalker. Like Yoda's the biggest bully in Star Wars, bro. Yoda was walking around and had like all of these cats doing all of these crazy missions and whatnot, doing all of this stuff in the name of the Jedi Order, all for Sidious to be able to circumvent them anyway. And then what do all bullies do once they get pumped? They go hide. Where did Yoda go? Straight to Dagobah. Like, you know what? I don't want no problems, man. I'm going to Yoda's the biggest bully in Star Wars.
savage.
I think he's just a boomer.
I mean, I'll say this: Yoda is a coward. I don't know about him being a bully, but I'll say he is a coward for sure. Yoda is definitely 100% a coward.
I'm gonna change my answer and I go to Mace Windu.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
He's
Mace
a
Windu
bully.
oh yeah, man. He was Anakin's bully. 100%.
Take a seat.
Take a seat. Like never. Like yeah, he was Anakin's bully. I don't know whose bully we're talking about. Like, but Mace Windu was a bully, man.
I mean,
But
Ahsoka a few
technically,
times
Mace
too.
was right about he was right about Anakin though. He told him we shouldn't train this boy. He got problems, and guess what?
Yeah,
Problems.
but to his defense, if everybody would have just been cool with him and not tried to trash on him all the time, maybe he would have been the Messiah he was meant to be. But
I
you know,
agree.
you create your own demons in the universe, and in my opinion, the Jedi created Vader.
All
Yeah, I
leads
agree,
back to Yoda.
1000%. Because
All
they-
leads
Yeah,
back,
I agree.
all leads
Yoda
back
was
to
meant-
Mace. Mace was the
No,
one who
it
was
is.
like, no,
I think it's Mace too. But
gosh, no. So Mace is the biggest bully. He's the cause for the downfall of the Republic.
Bro, another strike against Yoda is he always talks in riddles. Like he never will be literal with anybody. Like that's bully mentality.
trying to tell you, man.
That's mental abuse.
Psychological warfare.
Yeah.
Speak on it, Hawk. I'm telling
Slap you in the face. I
And
did
who was
not.
Mace? And who was Mace taking
Bro.
orders from? Who was Mace's master? Who led the council? Yoda, man. I'm sorry, you got it.
What's the first thing that Yoda did when he came back to Luke in death? Put hands on him.
Facts.
Are the Jedi bigger bullies than the Sith?
I'm telling you, man.
I think so.
telling you.
I totally think so.
even when Luke's like going off to save his friends, he's like, "It's all right. There's another one."
Right. He did like
Savages.
let them die, man.
Right.
F them kids.
Bro.
Fourth question: is a Porg, just the average run-of-the-mill Porg, as smart as the average dog? I don't think so. I think dogs got this one.
No.
Yeah,
Nah,
I'll take a dog.
They don't seem like they're completely dumb, but they just seem like they're not as aware, competent. I wouldn't even say they're as smart as a cow, because cows are pretty like, you know.
I would say they're like parrots. Like they can assess what's going on. Like if you had two parrots in the same cage and you snatched one of them up and cooked them in front of the other, that bird would be like,
I'm next.
okay, and would give you the sad eyes. You know, I mean,
Right.
Is anyone on the side of a Porg right now?
No,
Good.
Nah,
Good.
good
to know.
They were very
I
smart.
like dogs.
I like dogs. 5. Why do holograms have a blue tint? Guys, it's been thousands of years. You think we couldn't get like a lifelike look? What we're doing on StreamYard is pretty cool. We don't travel from planet to planet. Why do
They're
they
doing
gotta
it
have
across
that
the
tint?
universe, man, or a galaxy at least? You know.
There you go.
Because
That's
man, they broke, man. They don't got the cha-ching like that. Good tint. They broke.
Besides, it adds a few extra pounds. You ever seen how thick Palpatine looks in episode 1? Why would you take that away? I'm so dead.
Oh man.
I'm gonna say that there's a lot of light speed that happens, right? For something to travel from here to there so instantly, to have like live, in-person conversations, It travels and it uses the power of light speed. Okay, let's just say that. And the color of light speed is blue. You know how like the color of a mirror is green? If you really look into it, it has a green tint. Light speed is blue.
Blue Tint is the sponsor.
There you go.
Anyone have any answers in the live chat? Someone says their version of monochrome monitors. Yeah, give me their version. That's because light speed is blue, right, Daniel? The blue tint is a sponsor. LOL. 6. Why do they shorten R2D2 with just the beginning, R2? But C3PO gets shortened at the end. 3PO. What's up with that? I have no answers. I can't explain this for the life of me. I don't
Probably
get
just
it.
rolls off the tongue better. I mean,
Comfort. It's comfort amongst the humans that are around, right? Like, if 3PO's running around introducing himself, he's like, "Oh, my name is C3PO, right? And this is my companion R2." But to Anakin and Ahsoka, that's 3PO, and it's a comfort thing. It's the nicknames. It's the slur name. It's like Jennifer and Jen. It's that kind of thing to them.
Also, different machine types, different models.
So if there was a B3PO, wouldn't that be a problem though? Like, oh, you're the B3PO. We're gonna call you 3PO also?
Well,
I don't think there's any A's or B's. I think there's only like a C series because all the ones we've seen that are like 3PO are pretty much the same. They're just different colors.
Jedi
and honestly, those C3PO droids are kind of whack. I'd rather have an R2 droid that can talk because it can do everything 3PO can do, but it's cooler. It may not have arms, but at least it got a bunch of gadgets and gadgets to do some cool shit. And it can pilot the ship by itself too.
I'll take an
3PO
astromech.
can't do that.
I'll take an astromech any day.
Look at the body count. Like, let's look at the body count. Number one, I know. If I got a R2 droid, I got some back. If I got a C10 droid, I got some back. So not worried about that.
Thanks.
But 3PO is only good at running away or like trying to talk to people.
Translating. I mean, how much translations do I need when
when I'm even translating Sith for me? Come on, if you're gonna do it, you got to do it all.
Human cyborg relations. It's 33 burning questions. Chillmonger hosting, Hawks Holocrons, Lavis, Freddie Ray from the Main Authority. We got the main gang in the building. Star Wars Obsession also in the building for the first time ever. SSJ K. Sanctum, we know him. And we got Sheev the Wise, Vader's Lair, the newest member of the 1K Jedi Council in the
Hey, appreciate it, my guy.
Hey, congrats, man.
Hey, thank you.
The 7th question of 33 burning Star Wars questions, the current question. I hope you guys are all up to date. Any of the wrestling fans in here know what I'm about to mention. Sasha Banks, she is indefinitely suspended from the WWE. She walked out of Monday Night Raw. She said, "Here's my tag team title." Her tag partner left with her. She is in trouble with that company. She probably doesn't care. How does this affect Koska Reeves? Her relationship with Lucasfilm has to be affected. I think that they will see this in Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni will look at her and go, there's potential that this is someone who can sign a contract, agree to work for us, but still go her separate ways. I think that they would be fools not to consider that because that's just exactly what happened, and that's what their level is supposed to be thinking about. I think that this is not great for Sasha Banks, for what's her name? Her real name is Mercedes. And I feel like it could be negative. Am I wrong on this one, guys?
What did she get suspended for?
Well, she chose to leave. We don't know exactly what it was. Maybe she was asked to perform in a match she didn't want to perform in.
Right. So this is not a she did something wrong necessarily. This is something
no drugs, no violence,
no arrests, she didn't beat anybody
nothing like that.
Vegas.
It was a creative decision. It's what we wish Mark Hamill did to Rian Johnson when he told him to do Luke Skywalker that way.
Right. In this regard for her, this could actually be better. They need Mandalorian soldiers. We've seen her face with Bo-Katan. That's going to be a large part of what's coming in the days to come. This could work out better for her. Disney, one of the few things that Disney doesn't own. And so this could actually be a good acquisition for Favreau and them to give her the freedom to be her, to give her the freedom to go, if you want to go with another organization. I don't know what kind of non-competes she might have, but it might be beneficial for her and it might work out better for Favreau and John with John and Dave because it frees her up to come in and pull a lot of hours on the screen.
Jared said something here. It's probably part of the WWE story, and she's not actually suspended. They also stopped selling her shop merchandise on the websites. They also stripped her of the title. There will be a tournament for the new tag team champions. So, I mean, while yes, anything is possible, it could all be storyline stuff. I think I'm safe in believing that it's not a storyline. It would be a very elaborate storyline and very cost affecting.
How much does WWE actually pay their champions versus how much Disney money can be thrown at her to come and shoot Ahsoka, to come and shoot season 3 of Mandalorian as they gather troops to go back to Mandalore? There's a lot of room for her to come back and do her character in Mandalorian. I think Disney money outweighs WWE money, and she was like, "F this, I'm out."
Damn.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. I think I don't think it's a big deal to worry about. If it was you talking about like a lateral move in the same industry, like if you were talking about she walked off the set of another show or something like that, then yeah, maybe you have cause to pause. But I mean, WWE has a history of like doing people dirty and people finally getting fed up and walking out. So
but it's only the elite ones who do it. Like Stone Cold did it when he was supposed to lose to Brock Lesnar. He's like, "What, Brock Lesnar? This rookie. I'm about to lose to him. I'm Stone Cold. That's horrible booking," which it was, and he left. CM Punk, we know about that story. I don't want to repeat every single one of them, but it's usually the guys with like self-respect or quality talent who do it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't follow wrestling like that as much anymore, but like she wasn't like trash though. Like she was a champion, so she had some stats. She had some stats.
She blew up.
Yeah, she had some clout. So, and I mean, it's not even necessarily just that, because like when you look at the New Radicals when they left WCW, like Dean Malenko and Eddie Guerrero, those cats weren't known when they split, and they were, they had gotten fed up with WCW and jumped ship. And so, in a situation like that, then if I'm Vince McMahon in that situation, then I'm like, yeah, I don't know, you cats just left. You could look at it from that way, but with her, she's going. It's like, do I want to go where I'm on the road 200 plus nights a year, or do I want to go film this show with Disney Lucasfilm?
That's what I'm saying. Like, go stay in LA, get that cushy life, get that nice retainer from Disney, because they do that. They keep him on retainer, so you're not doing nothing else while we're trying to get you working. And earn that Disney money, get on the Mouse's radar, and be part of the biggest show that's been on, Disney in a decade.
Hey, shows plural, because she can be in the Ahsoka thing, like people are suggesting right now.
Hell yeah,
all of them are interlocked, and
she was pretty well accepted by everybody, I feel like, on the show. And the other thing I wanted to bring up too is like Jon Favreau is the type that sees these things in people, like Gina Carano as well. Like she's got the swagger and the attitude that matches a Mandalorian. I think he called her right away. I think he's already talking to her.
I think that they might have.
She's been included in the show.
I think they might have pitched her before this, and
I think she did well.
We need more Mandalorians, familiar faces. Your face is familiar in the armor. We need more of that. Are you interested? And the WWE was like, "You're not going anywhere." And she's like, "Catch me outside, watch me." And game over, baby. I mean, that Disney money's persuasive. The Mouse has got deep pockets. You may not.
I didn't even know about this. To be like, I've been keeping up, and like I knew she wasn't like I knew she was suspended, and like there's some stuff going on. But honestly, I didn't know the full situation, and I thought that she wasn't even going to be in the third season the way she was talking about it. But I mean, we've seen other people do that recently with movies and such, so I wouldn't doubt at all if you guys are right about this, and she ends up, ditching the WWE to kind of, do more Star Wars stuff.
Appreciate you.
Hey, much love, Reefer Man.
Darth Chaos is going to add that Dwayne Johnson, John Cena, Dave Bautista, all been successful without the WWE. The difference is those are much better actors than she is. While she didn't suck, she didn't have much to say also.
Batista?
Really?
Look at The Rock's first work. Look at The Rock's first work.
Yeah.
Like, judge them by their first piece of television or movie, and not what the man or people that they are now. Like, let's be real. Judge them by the first thing they did in Hollywood, and I'm talking the B-list bullshit, and tell me that they were great. They're great now because they've had great instructors and they've had decades to refine their craft, but they were BS. Dwayne with hair when he did TV, come on, girl, get out of here.
I'm not going to say Vin Diesel is a bad actor by any means, but this dude, the past like decade, is known for saying family and being Groot and getting paid probably $60 million in like the span of 4 or 5 movies to say I am Groot.
Let's talk about The Rock when he was before the roids, bro. Before the bulk up, back when he still had hair, when he was still wrestling, when he
Rocky
let's talk about that guy acting.
The weird Mark Hamill slander attached to this only works if you say, "Oh, you're talking about how I said she did with her character in the WWE what Mark Hamill didn't do with Luke Skywalker because of the trash Last Jedi." You're talking about that, Eyeglass? Yeah, I got you. Look at one comment in a conversation where he went on to say more in a vacuum, but more of the character of that character for sure. Cena's only good actor of the 3. See, everyone's different. I would say that.
I don't agree with John. I don't like John Cena though.
You can't
Dude,
see
he's
him.
great.
Question number 8 is a challenge.
Peacemaker.
Can we cast Johnny Depp?
Okay.
No, it'll take 3 million alpacas to get him back to Pirates of the Caribbean. But what about Star Wars? Lucasfilm.
Hot take. I've never heard anybody say this, but I feel like he could pull off Revan.
I feel like he can pull off anybody he wanted to, but
I've heard people say somebody. I'm wondering if anybody else is gonna say it. I'm gonna hold my answer for a second.
Is it a good guy or a bad guy?
He's like an in-between guy, I feel like.
Quinlan Voss?
All right, I'll just say it. Hondo.
Oh, he
Hondo
would be,
and
dude, that would be a space pirate. Yes,
Not
dude,
my first. I'm not the first one. I've heard people say that. I love that
He would
idea.
nail that. He would nail that.
Yeah, for sure. He's like literally Jack Sparrow of Star Wars. Like,
Yeah,
he just
I
pops
see
up
that.
everywhere, bro.
He would make an awesome Hondo.
I'd
Yeah,
give
that's
him an
amazing.
original character. I don't know about you guys. Original
cool.
character
Probably.
probably works best for this guy, and not too much prosthetics and makeup for him because he's Johnny Depp.
But listen, we thought that with what's his name too, Benicio.
That's
New
what I was thinking about
character,
though, and that's why I was like,
someone we
that's
don't
why I
know.
chose someone like Revan. But
I think
I'd
Johnny
be
Depp,
down
you got to
for-
go eccentric. You got to go makeup. You got to go Willy Wonka shit.
Yeah,
Like you got to do
I would want
Johnny
to
Depp.
see him. If you want to go someone original that we've never seen on screen, I think
make him a modder.
I think he would be an awesome Plagueis.
That's
Like
interesting.
somebody real dark and sinister.
That'd be
Vegas
nuts,
got to be a
bro.
fat guy. He died in his sleep. Fat people die in their sleep.
Johnny Depp is not looking very trim right now. I don't know if you paid attention to the court trial. He is not looking his trimmest right now. He would make a good Plagueis
He's
with a
getting
little
ready.
bit of prosthetic.
I think I like that one.
Hondo seems to win over here in the live chat. Everyone
Yeah.
likes that idea.
Yeah, Hondo's a good idea, but I got one that's off the wall for y'all. I think he'd be a good Grand Admiral Thrawn.
He's just not
I
tall
think he'd
enough.
be totally.
Yeah.
He's just
So,
so big.
cameras, really? Okay,
Yeah,
so
they could make
you
the
had-
magic
Yeah,
happen.
they
Yeah,
could
he would
totally
have
make
to,
the
he
magic
would have to
happen
hire
with
some
height.
short people though, because he like Thrawn makes people look little, and
Look at
you'd have to
Tom
hire
Hardy.
some like 4
Tom Hardy
foot.
played Bane, and he was looking taller than Batman. He is not taller than Christian Bale at all.
Facts.
At all. So
Yeah, they could
He's
do
no
it.
Snoke.
Number 9. What did Mace Windu think of his backup after Sidious slayed them?
None
I
of
knew
them,
I was the chosen one. I told you.
none of them had fought a Sith ever, really. Right? The only ones that really fought Sith were Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan Kenobi at this point, and Anakin Skywalker. Right? I mean, none of them really faced Grievous. If they did, they died. None of them really faced Dooku. If they did, they died. So really, none of them had really faced off and tiered off with a tier 1 Sith that really looking to chop your head off, not just teach a lesson. And Mace had the luxury of Vapod. He had the luxury of absorbing that dark energy. So when the Force Scream came out, he's absorbing it. The others are set off balance, and that's why they got sliced up. So like his power of using the dark side against his opponents actually probably saved his life in that instance.
Pretty much.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, he definitely
Nailed
thought they was trash. For
He was
not
probably
being able
like,
to do what they
these
needed to
mother.
do.
Yeah, he's
I mean, it's definite they was Padawans, right? But like, you know, after that, it took Mace a quick moment to like realize that they're trash, and then he had to go embody Sidious. He was like, they're trash, but I got to do what I need to do because I am the best on this council. So let me do what I need to do.
The thing is, they say that green one, what's his name? Kit Fisto? They say he's like this elite guy. I remember him from the water episode. I was just watching on Vader's Lair. I was watching the water episode of Clone Wars where, oh look, he's aquatic and he's doing stuff. Cool. But maybe if that fight
and mind you, that was after this is because people like they see what happens. This is why the animation and live action stuff is so like because the stuff that they see in the animation, I wish they can reflect in live action, but there's such a clear difference because the characters in the animation are far more powerful than the ones in live action. They're doing all this crazy stuff, flips, kicks, freaking crazy shit. But when you get the live action, they're like weaker and slower and stuff. I understand it's the difference between animation and live action, but
you know what the best example of though of live action mixing with animation? You guys remember in Clone Wars season 7 where they had Ray Park fighting wasn't Ahsoka but some other woman, but they were wearing motion sensors.
The armor.
Yes,
it was the lady that played the armor that did the motion cap for Ahsoka.
Okay, cool. So like it wasn't that thing that Kate was talking about where it's just flip, kick, and like instant moves. It was more so
because in Clone Wars, Kit, if all right, this was Clone Wars Kit Fisto, right? He was going up against Grievous in that one episode where he was protecting kids. Like he was doing his thing, but that came out after the prequels when because the Clone Wars, let's be real, that was the stuff to make up for the prequels. If the prequels was as well received as it was, we probably would never even got Clone Wars anyways. But Kit Fisto. That's impossible. But going off the prequels, going off the live action, Kit Fisto's trash. I mean, let's be fair. Grievous got beat by Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan just shot him in the face. He didn't even beat him with a saber. Grievous is trash. So yeah, just because Kit Fisto faded with Grievous, I mean, Obi-Wan beat him with a gun. So
I mean, you seen the original cut of Grievous versus Obi-Wan? That thing is dark, man. He rips out his heart, shoots it, and does all this crazy stuff.
Well, and the same thing goes for the original way they wanted to use that scene during the Emperor's arrest, right? I mean, technically, there are shots of Anakin coming in behind, and the reason Kit's caught off balance is because he feels Anakin coming from behind, and is distracted in that moment. So, the way that they used the edit kind of doesn't do Kit a great service. But he in the way that they were originally going to cut it, Anakin was coming in, and Kit felt him and was distracted, and that's when Palpatine acted. So it's tough when it doesn't go exactly as expected, but let's call him trash. Mace just had a lucky advantage at birth, having these amazing abilities.
Also, the description of that scene in the damn book, Sidious is a blur. He's just a red blur. Right. I don't know whose perspective it is. I think it might be even Mace Windu's, but they don't see him. He doesn't see him at all.
It's Anakin's perspective. Yeah. Anakin is the one that basically comes in, and all he sees is a red and purple blur. And that's what I'm saying about Mace. If he didn't have Vapod, he'd have been iced on the floor like the rest of these fools. It was all the dark energy he was using that the Emperor was dilling out that gave him even the power to keep up with Sidious at that level.
Right.
Right. And that's the thing about the fight too, that I don't people can't realize Sidious is OP as hell. Of course, he bodied these three people right easily. There. Those Jet on the Council are trash, but
he put Maul.
It's not like they was fighting some mid Sith. They was fighting the guy.
Right. Doesn't the Office also have those Duarte statues, and it funnels some dark side energy into the space he's sitting in? And that's how he's hiding himself and shit.
Plagueis' ashes at the doorway, though. There's some dark energy in Plagueis' remains at the doorway. That whole office is full with dark energy. That's why Mace had a chance. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, movie didn't explain any of that. That's all from written material that you got to pay a little.
They need to though, dude.
That's called homework, my guy. You got two guys in here that do so much homework, bro.
And I appreciate the two guys in
People
here that
harass
so much
me.
homework.
Before we get to this question, I gotta go. I got stream to do. Much love, y'all. I hope you have a good day. Thanks for having me on for a little bit.
Hey, for sure, man.
Much love. Peace.
The 10th question is, what's the most popular merch item in Star Wars? Lightsaber.
Bar none.
It's probably lightsaber and Grogu right
Darth
now.
Vader voice changer.
Oh, Grogu changes the game.
Yeah.
Nah, still lightsaber.
He's a lightsaber, bro.
He's been around long enough.
There's no side companies making little Grogus, right? Off-brand Grogus. There's side hustle lightsabers everywhere.
Facts.
Let's be real.
I mean, I do agree it is lightsabers.
Levin,
That's the most popular.
what has the Vanity Fair article accomplished? Any
And
of you guys?
Are you
No?
trying to get me fired up right now? Are you trying to see angry me again? I did that shit yesterday.
I would say that
I remember
the Vanity Fair article really didn't accomplish much. We at this point, if you haven't made up your mind on Kathleen Kennedy, this article wasn't going to do
we're
it.
talking about the wrong one. Never mind.
Wait, the Vanity Fair article where she was
I was
explaining
talking
how.
about time. You're good. This one doesn't make me mad.
Okay, wait, there was a second.
Oh
Time
no,
magazine.
there's a Time magazine article that'll
About
light
the
your hair on
prequels.
fire. It'll light your hair on fire. Don't let's keep going. Just focus. Press on.
Mhm.
First get.
Find this, I must.
Oh, dude,
Yeah,
it's,
right.
it's gonna light your hair on fire. I'm
I
telling
will
you.
give you the mic if you want to. I'm just, go ahead. What this Time article?
Uh-oh.
Time magazine released an article by this woman named Elena Dockerman. And
Elena Dockerman. Me and her used to go to. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. So Elena Dockerman is this journalist, and she titled an article "Why It's Time to Forgive and It's Time to Forgive Hayden."
Is it
Christensen.
time?
Is it time to forgive Hayden Christensen for the prequels? That's the title of the article.
Yeah, I don't need to forgive him because I like
Bro,
him.
it's like I can't even describe the pain. I don't get mad on YouTube, right? This is my safe space. This is like happy time.
Right.
And I did an hour stream like fired up and angry yesterday.
He didn't even read the whole thing.
Like, no, I didn't. I got halfway through and I was like,
Yeah.
I got to talk about it. I can't just sit here. My hair's on fire. And I read the whole article on stream and she said 4 accurate things and I'm being generous. Out of 1,000 words, it's just painful. Vanity Fair. Look, I like KK. I don't care. Everybody hates her. She's doing work. That company's stock is going to go up. I just bought some more because it's down and down right now before Kenobi. So I just bought some more. Kathleen's doing her job. People may hate her for what she did to the sequels, what she did to the sequels. I get it. I'm with you. There were a lot of mistakes made, but she's learned from her mistakes. That's what this article has taught me, is that she understands you can't go messing with certain things. And she did that, and she let people do that, and that was a mistake. And now they're going, and they have one direction with Dave Filoni in charge, trudging forward. And that is
Slow clap for this man, damn it. Slow clap for this man. Like, thank you. Finally, somebody with some sense talking Star Wars around. Like, it kills me that people flip out so much about like Kathleen Kennedy and it's like, you try running a multi-billion-dollar organization with like 40 years worth of lore and tell me you gonna nail every decision.
I'll go
like,
one
I'm
step
not
further
apologizing for it one bit because I used to go ham on Kathleen, but I'm like, at this point, man,
look,
all the stuff that we've gotten since the sequel trilogy, if that doesn't tell you that they're trying to correct the ship, then like this just ain't for you no more, man. Like, just keep it moving.
How many of us have been a CEO of any company?
Facts.
Okay, number one. How many of us have ever had to report to a board of directors who report to the stockholders?
I don't even think of it this way, but
I do, because it's
how
business.
many of us can count to 3?
Right.
A trilogy needs to have one movie that leads into the second and to the third, and to have the second guy allowed to do anything he wants, admittedly, as we've seen him say so, to have Luke Skywalker not be the Luke Skywalker we got and changing it. It's like,
well, at the same time, we have a story team that is pitching these ideas, right? It's not Rian Johnson. It's not J.J. Abrams. Those men were brought in to direct a script. This is the problem I have with the hate for not just Kathleen, but for getting on JJ and getting on Ryan. Now, granted, they were trying to piss on each other in the last 2 movies. No doubt. Stamp that box. Let's move on. However, they did not write these scripts. They did not write these stories. They directed the actors in the directions of these scripts.
Palpatine was not their end game,
right? Directors do not write scripts. Story writers, screenwriters write scripts that are directed and approved by Story Group that then goes up and gets mass published to all of the people that need to see it. And then the directors get their directors of photography, select the kind of movie they want to shoot with colors, CG, all of this stuff, and then they shoot it. The people that are responsible for the sequels is Pablo, and I give Kathleen a share of responsibility because she did assign that person to that position, right? these people at the story group are responsible, and that's why a large number of them are gone. And now Dave Filoni is in charge with one solid direction, right? The directors, yes, they tried to piss on each other. They tried to have a measuring contest on the screen, and it sucked. But I blame the screenwriters. If you don't like Luke Skywalker, blame the script writers, blame the story group.
Wait, Rian Johnson written and directed it.
Did he write the script? He wrote the whole Megillah without the story group.
When it says written and directed, I thought that's what that meant. If there's like an assistant who wrote it with him, he
has a hand in the writing. We'll say that he has a hand in the writing. Regardless,
it's like when you like I'll give you an example.
Because what I see from Rian Johnson, he defends that treatment of Luke Skywalker. He defends that shit. So that's why I hold it, because he defends it. He backs it up. I understand it's his movie, but if he's gonna gas it up and defend it, then I'm a trade. Are you in on it?
You know what? Then if Kathleen gave him carte blanche to make the second movie, and if that is 1000% true, then then it's on her. Then it's her head on the spigot. But that's a lot to go through a story, to bypass the whole story group and give a director the right to write the screenplay. That's a lot. That's a reach.
The thing for me and this is the reason I give her the grief, is it has nothing to do with like each individual movie, because the sequel trilogy was doomed from the start because they decided to take this campfire approach to telling the story. They didn't plan anything. She came out and said that they wanted to treat it like stories around a campfire, and that they passed it to each movie to the writing team and the director to basically figure it out as they went along. Nothing was going to be dope about that movie from that point, because Star Wars is, when George Lucas wrote Star Wars, it was like a 9-part epic to begin with. And he knew he couldn't pitch that to a movie studio, so he just did A New Hope. That's the problem. Like, she tried to do something with a story that had already been established. You can't do that. That's where
I have spoken.
And that's it. It's like, that's where she, like, kill her for that. But like everything else, I look at AJ, I look at Rian Johnson, I look at Lucasfilm Story Group, because they were the ones that were sitting in that room that thought that she was dope. But Kathleen Kennedy, because she's the head of the snake, she's in charge, so she takes the brunt of it. But just like you do with any, like a football team or any sports team, once they start course correcting, you got to kind of sit back and see what they do with it. And I mean, look at what we've gotten since then, and you got to at least be like, okay, they're trying to get their shit together. So I mean, that's what I look.
And look, this thing, let me ask, because even with the course correcting, like I see it, and I do see them doing it.
Yeah, I agree.
Eventually, they're gonna hit the sequels, right?
Facts.
Eventually, right? Eventually, they're gonna hit it. Now, think about it. Can anything they do justify still what they did to Luke?
Yes.
Yes,
1000%.
Fiction. Yes. Anything is possible. I will not rule out that Luke had to pretend to pull up on his little nephew to make the nephew be scared, because if he hadn't, he would have go down a worse path. So he had to scare him. Luke was acting the whole time. I could, make that a situation.
Well, see, and this is the thing for me. Like, this is the thing for me. They can try the best they can, but showing Luke Skywalker even think about and contemplate killing his nephew in his sleep, I'm like, there's nothing they can write to justify why Luke would even think about killing his own sister's brother in her sleep, like attempting to do it.
So do we just forget that like Luke was this close from killing Vader?
Yeah, bro, no one has seen the Darth Choco TikTok.
Darth Choco's TikTok.
No one has
can watch this TikTok. I'll do
bro,
it in 60
like,
seconds or less.
Vader,
we'll clip it
like,
and we'll
Luke,
explain this.
That was different.
Hammering
shit
during a fight. They were already fighting. They were
Vader.
already there. I'm gonna keep talking over everybody. The thing is, during that fight, during that, it was a fight. Heat of the battle. That's right. The Last Jedi. What Luke did was said, "My nephew is sleeping there."
Bro,
he did this. He was not in a fight. He goes, "Let me get my lightsaber now. Let me walk over to his tent.
So
let me see him over there quietly."
Luke hiding and saying, "I'm not gonna fight you, though." Right? Like, no, like, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna fight you. He hid. Vader's taunting him. Right? Okay, then I'll grab your sister. In that moment, that's not heat of the battle. That's not like, oh, I'm defending myself. Oh, you nick me, I'm gonna chop your head off. That was a cognitive choice when he said, I will take your sister then. And he's like, no. And that's when he uses the dark side.
Yes.
And that's why the Emperor is laughing. He's sitting on the throne laughing at him because he's like, oh, I'm not going to turn. I got you. I got
So
your
he has
ass.
these
equivalent.
exact
No one
same
threatened-
images.
Taking that and
Nobody threatened Luke's
taking that-
sister. Ben was sleeping.
Taking that and comparing it to trying to kill your nephew in his sleep.
Taking that,
One is
Yeah, I'm
really
just
a
saying
lot
that's
worse
not a
than
heat of
the
the battle
other.
decision. That's not a battle. That's not a battle time decision in the heat of the battle. He's sitting there telling him, I'm not going to fight you. No, no, no. And he mentions his sister and he's like, I'm going to mess you up. And the only reason he stopped is because he cut his hand off. And he's like, whoa, your hand's metal. My hand's metal. We're the same. Right? That's the only reason he stopped. If he'd have kept going, he'd have cut his head off. He'd have cut his head clean off.
So I mean, I look at it like
you shouldn't have said nothing about
We
the
danced-
man's
That's
We
what I'm saying.
really-
Don't talk about my
Hey
sister.
man, if he talks smack about a man's sister, he gonna get at you. You know?
Out your mouth.
hell yeah.
Let's keep it moving. Question number
Uh.
12 is, what does Yoda see in that cave?
Batman. Let me stop.
Yoda sees his failures, right? He sees his failures. No. Yoda sees a version of himself that's not a coward that he wishes he could be. He's like, it's like a cool version of Yoda. He's all buff and has long, luscious hair. He looks like a barbarian warrior and stuff. He's badass and everything. And Yoda's like, man, I'm just green and trash. I'm a green coward.
Just Bruce Banner.
Man.
Yeah, he basically sees his true self.
Like, oh,
A amazing buff Yoda. He's tall and stuff. He's not even short.
He speaks straight English.
Right.
Oh man, I think he sees all the Jedi that are dead. Right? I think that scene in Clone Wars where in the season 6 finale where we think they're going to end it with the Wills. I think he sees all of the slayed Jedi, the younglings, all of the temple. I think a lot of that comes to him in those moments because those are his failures, right? He was in charge to protect everyone, not just this couple people. And I think they come back to him, and like Luke had to fight Vader in that, maybe he has to constantly fight them. Maybe that's why he's so broken when we find him, because he's constantly fighting imaginary fights, so to speak.
I can see that.
Also, you can't forget about because Yoda's like over 9,000 years old. Factor in all the people he lost along the way that he trained, especially when before the Rule of Two, you had multitudes of Sith running around, and mind you, it was in constant battles, probably a bunch of Jedis and stuff dying, 24/7 until the Rule of Two.
I have an ignorant question. The Acolyte happens 200 years ago?
200 years.
Well, it's going to be a prequel. It's going to be a New Hope Hope prequel. So it's like, I think it's not that too far from a New Hope, but it's a prequel.
The Acolyte takes place at the end of the High Republic, and the High Republic era is 200 years before the Phantom Menace. We do not know how long that era lasts. So somewhere within the 200-year gap is where the Acolyte will land. That is what I'm most curious about, because we are touching base with potential Plagueis and Tenebris and all of these other Sith lords.
Before the Rule of Two.
After the Rule of Two.
After it's been established.
Bane
Old Republic is pre-High Republic.
Yeah.
Okay.
But listen, bro, I'm going to let all the blasphemy about the sequels on the previous question go. And I hope that you guys understand what I'm about to say with this answer. Yoda's the only Jedi that survives the High Republic era.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
wait a minute.
He's suspect, bro.
Did something he did.
Conspiracy theory. Yoda feared that, it's too many of these Jedi and stuff. He wanted to stay at the top of the castle. So, he didn't want there to be too many candidates to take his spot. Wait a minute.
I don't believe you.
Bro, you're gonna ruin everybody's childhood.
Woke. Hold up. Stay woke, because Yoda is a snake. He's a rat.
Bro, how's he the only one?
Will be.
I mean,
it makes sense.
So you're saying he saw it coming. He saw the tidal wave coming, and he just decided, I'm not going to warn nobody in the town, and just let everybody get chopped up.
There's always a bigger fish.
He just hit that Men in Black little and memory wiped everybody.
See nothing you do.
Forget all the Jedi.
All right. All right.
There we go.
Okay.
This question is for Sheev the Wise, who was in here earlier. How do you spell do it?
DW.
Right.
You need
DW.
at least 3 W's on that.
Right.
Do it.
Question 14 is: could Ahsoka defeat Darth Vader without the distractions if Ezra wasn't there, if they weren't at a collapsing Jedi temple, Sith temple?
I mean, yeah, she was much faster.
I'm gonna let
But
I'm gonna let everybody else answer first, and then I'm gonna tell you the correct answer.
Well, I think that she was in her
faster.
athletic prime, wasn't she? Like,
Yeah.
he was already an old man. I mean,
Well, he wasn't
saw-
exactly old. He was still, because this is Rebels is between A New Hope, and so he's still kind of young.
Probably in his
but
30s.
still damaged. He was young, but still damaged.
I would give it to Ahsoka, and I would say yes, she could have defeated him. And then K-Dot saying,
I still say Vader.
Yeah,
Vader can do it.
Vader. There's a reason Ezra reached in there to grab Ahsoka.
Right.
Like it was
There's
a
a
wrap.
reason Ahsoka was breaking the floor to kill them both.
It's a wrap. It was a wrap for
Mhm.
her. Like
Yeah.
there was no way she was going to be able to defeat him, and
No.
that's why I'm really interested to see where they go when they pick this up, because that's just a thread that they got to follow. Because
Yeah.
I feel like, and this goes back to, I can't remember who was that mentioned it, but somebody asked the question about coming up against the sequel trilogy and figuring out how you deal with that. My ultimate fanboy wish is that we find out that moment created a parallel, and that everything we saw in the sequel trilogy was what happened in the original Star Wars timeline, and that at that moment it created a divergence, and so we get a new sequel trilogy.
I might have heard Thor Skywalker say that one on his channel, but maybe he didn't create it. But I've heard that theory.
I think
Yeah,
they
it's
correct
not
it
something
though.
I came up with. It's just something. Yeah, I've heard other people talking about it, but it's like, yeah, that to me is what I want to see. Something along those lines. You ain't got to go all world between worlds with it and like convolute everything with like they did with midichlorians, but like give a timeline where everything changed with that moment with Ezra, because you've got to make sense of that. And like I said, that's the perfect way to bridge the gap to the sequel, because
Before,
they can see what happened just in a different timeline.
Before Obsession goes off, the end of that episode, I love that theory too. The end of that episode, that it's corny, but they make a point to show us that they both returned through their original portals.
Right.
So I don't think it really makes that much of a factor. But dude, 2 timelines in Star Wars, that'd be sick.
Okay, I'm gonna give you the correct answer here. So basically, Ahsoka during that entire fight, from the start of it, when he is standing there and she shows up, she will not fight him with her full potential. When she shows up, she's not trying to kill him. She's defending herself. She's moving, but she's not trying to take blows at him.
Even though she said, "I will avenge his death," she wasn't actually going all out.
She knows that to kill him is to betray Anakin, because she knows Anakin is in there, right? She can feel him. And in that moment, when she breaks his mask,
Then you will die.
that moment is Anakin breaking through. And that's why Vader comes back with that line. It's not because he necessarily he can't kill her. She could lead to Kenobi in his eyes. He was never going to kill her. Obviously at the end, when they're in that moment, he's coming for a death strike, but she's trying to take them both out together. The entire fight for her was about going out together. I'm never going to leave you again the way I left you before, right? And that's the entire fight for her. He's trying to get her to a point where she's submissive and done, and he can make her tell him where Kenobi is. Now, when they both come back, right, when Vader falls and she gets pulled out into the world between worlds, she never leaves Malachor again until after Vader's dead. So she knows if she comes out of that moment, out of that temple, she creates a paradox because she's not supposed to be there. So she knows she has to stay in her bubble until Vader's dead, because if she comes out, Vader will feel her. So
Is
just
that
like
written
Yoda,
anywhere though, that she had to stay at Malachor?
if you look at Yoda, who is hiding on Dagobah because of the dark energy is protecting him from being seen, she uses Malachor the same way so that they can't feel her energy, right? So She stays on Malachor. There's a here. I got it. If you want to see it, there's a playing card strip that here. I'll get him. Hold on.
Do it.
So this is a playing card strip from Dave that was drawn and illustrated by Dave Filoni, and this is the Galaxy. I have a whole set, but this is the Star Wars Galaxy Journey of Ahsoka is what these are called. Let me see if okay, something like that, right? And basically, these cards illustrate Ahsoka's journey into the temple, right after this whole experience. So each card shows a piece of her journey,
and it's Filoni.
Right? And this is these are all illustrated by Filoni. So this is her journey into in the temple. So when
this is gonna be her show.
When she walks into the temple, she understands that she was pulled out of time. She understands so much about the Force that she knows if she
that was the Morai right there.
Yeah, that was her and Morai. So Morai stays with her the entire time she's in the temple. Right? Yeah. This is her, that's her climbing downstairs into the temple, the flooded temple. So there's layers we never see.
Bro, why have you not done a video on this?
I don't know. I started to, and it got real deep. And
when we get out of here, do that.
Hey, man, I will. But anyway, so Ahsoka stays on Malachor for another another 5 to 10 years, depending on where Luke is in this time, how old Luke is at this time. So however old Ezra is how old Luke is. So they're about 12. So she stays on Malachor for another 7 years, like Maul. So in that fight, she never wanted to kill Vader. I genuinely think in that fight, if they're both full go, I want to kill you, I think she takes him. I think she takes him limb by limb with just like, Kenobi, right? I think she starts tearing limbs off because he's a robot. He's not Anakin anymore. And then once she's disassembled him completely, I think she wanted to save him, to be honest. I think she wanted to save Anakin. She knew he was in there. Sorry, went on a rant.
No, I love it. Hey, and I want to see, definitely want to see those episodes too, Darth Chaos. It would make a great show. Question number 15.
Open up with that.
Yeah. It's true or false? Poe can pilot the Falcon better than Han. The Millennium Falcon, guys.
False.
I never seen Hall Lightspeed skip that thing.
It's because he didn't want to damage his ship.
I'm gonna say true because he's force sensitive a little bit.
Ooh, that's a good point. That tree. You grew up with that tree.
Nah.
He's more connected than Han.
I got that, man.
Yeah.
No, I don't see Poe Dameron making the Kessel Run in under 14 parsecs.
Yeah, I
was lucky.
I don't see that happening.
It's 12.
I know, but technically it was 14 to start with, and then it dwindled down to 12. That's why Chewie keeps correcting him. He's like, I made the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs, and Chewie's like, and he's like, we're rounding down. Shut up. Right? Like, it's a constant joke with Chewie. He's always laughing when he says that.
I think Poe could do it in 11. No, I'm kidding. I'm just having fun. It's false. Poe, experience and familiarity with the ship plays a part into it, and that's what Han has over Poe anytime.
And was Han force sensitive? Just saying. There's a lot of argument there.
Yeah.
Question number 16. True or false? Anakin's slow start in that pod race was a blessing. Yeah, it was. He won it at the end of it, right? You didn't need to be in front with Boba to have like 3 laps of him focusing on you. You're better off being in the back, letting them eliminate everyone, letting all the Tusken Raiders aim at somebody else. Yeah, go ahead and do that.
Well, the will of the Force.
Facts. I was just gonna say it.
Will of the Force.
Yeah,
story writers.
True. Blessing the Force. Yeah.
Lavis?
I said is either the Force or the story writers, one of the two. Which is
same thing.
Which is equal in Star Wars.
Is there a difference?
Right. They're equal.
Live chat, you answer whether it's true or false. So it says it was the will of the Force. Question number 17. True or false? Sith Lords are Kenobi's speciality. Let's see
false.
here. Yeah, I'm gonna have to challenge him on this one here. it's not like you took down many. I remember in the movie prior, Count Dooku just kind of said goodbye, and you were just out for most of that fight.
I think he gets a lot of credit for the Sith Lords, and I think as much as I love Kenobi, and Kenobi is one of my favorite characters in Clone Wars, and one of my favorite characters that has grown. I think he kind of got a little lucky with Grievous. I think he got a little lucky. I mean, he didn't get lucky. He actually was opportunistic and took Maul's ego and vanity and used that to his advantage, because he got his ass kicked by Maul too. So I think he's a little opportunistic, and I think he's more aware of his surroundings than most Jedi. And that goes to like Qui-Gon's lightsaber and to the blaster. He's like, what can I use in a moment of desperation? And is very, very good instincts.
Good instincts and high ground. Like when he was fighting Vader at the time, I have the high ground. It was it. And he didn't finish him. He didn't finish off Maul. No matter how much times he fights Maul, he doesn't really kill him until an animated version of him does it in Rebels.
I mean, if you really look at it, I mean, he and again, another example where he kind of got lucky, and the Force kind of gave him a boost, because Anakin treads down the way a little bit, and they're still going, and he loses, right? I mean, Anakin's ego, again, he's a man of opportunity, because that ego always seems to, I don't know if it's him pulling it out of it with the way he talks to them, but I mean, maybe that's something Ahsoka got, because she did it to Maul, kind of took him off balance. Oh, I sense Kenobi's tongue, right? Like maybe it was that. Maybe it's the way he's talking to Anakin that kind of forces that ego and makes him go for that impossible move. But I think if Anakin like goes down the way a little bit, gets off the lava, I think he beats that ass.
Bro, when she says to Maul, "You're lucky Anakin's not here," or something along those lines, I was like, that is Obi-Wan through and through.
Right.
I think
you're lucky Master Skywalker didn't show up. You wouldn't have lasted very long. Like that's
I think by the time Kenobi is killing Maul in that final fight, I would say Obi-Wan is that Sith Lords are his specialty.
Right.
At that point in his life.
Han Solo is an amazing jack of all trades. Poe is a better pilot. I can't wait till him show up as a Jedi in the season finale doing moves in an X-Wing that can only be performed with the Force. That could happen.
I mean, dude, there was a lot of Anakin Skywalker moves in that dreadnought scene. Like that pausing, drifting, flipping, shooting. Like that's some baller moving, man. Like that was some sick flying.
Number 18. True or false, Ahsoka is no Jedi. I feel like that makes you the best Jedi. For you to say something like that, let's use Jedi as the word that means like good guy fighter. Yes, she's the most ultimate good guy fighter.
But are the Jedi good guy fighters?
The way I'm using it, because the Sith is the word for the bad guys.
I want to say false.
Why is she no Jedi?
She is a Ronin.
Wait,
but that's not a Jedi, right?
That's so. A Ronin is a samurai without master, right? That instills their own justice in the world, right? Ahsoka is the same thing. She doesn't live by the Jedi code. She doesn't believe in the Jedi order. She lives by her own moral code,
which is better than the Jedi code.
I didn't say better. I just said she lives by her own moral code and does what she believes is just and what is right. And that's not a Jedi. That's to me, that's a Ronin.
She's following the Force. So what Qui-Gon did too.
Right. Well, yeah, she's very much Qui-Gon. And if Qui-Gon had taken her path and left, I don't think he would be called a Jedi either. I think if anything, they're more like the Bendu at this point. And I think after her time
or aspire to be
in the on Malachor, she is more Gray and Bendu than ever.
Anyone else want to touch this? Ahsoka being no Jedi. Is K-Dot back? Lavis?
I mean, I don't know. I think she's recognized as a Jedi just for the fact that she's on the good side of things. But I have to agree with Star Wars obsession, though, the fact that she really doesn't have a master and isn't really too involved in all that, and she kind of follows the fact that she follows her own kind of way. I mean, it might go against the Jedi way, and you know, she'll stick with her own way, despite being challenged by the Jedi. So at that point, if that were to happen, would she be a Jedi then, or would she be a rogue Jedi, or was she just like he said, a Ronin kind of?
And I'll go one step further. She will not assist Luke in the training of Grogu.
Right. Yeah.
She will not assist him. She is there to protect.
Right.
But she will not assist in the training of the next generation of Jedi. And that is a huge staple and an exclamation point on the fact that she is no Jedi.
Right. She dope with them lightsabers, though.
I would say, and people want to fight me for this shit, but I would say that Ahsoka has after when we see Ahsoka in at the end of Rebels going and in Mandalorian and going forward, I want to say Ahsoka has a better understanding and interpretation of the entire Force, even more than Palpatine.
Yeah, she's Ahsoka the Gray. Or Ahsoka the White.
But he had like secrets about things that you
but
she spent 7 years in a Sith temple studying.
If that comes to pass,
right?
Man,
That's why she's gray. That's why when she comes out in that final scene at Rebels, she's wearing the same outfit that she's wearing in Mandalorian. She is no longer just a runner of the light. She is the true definition of living in the gray and living by the moral compass that is the Force. Because the Force is not one thing. The Force is Ashla and Bogan.
Facts.
True or false? Yaddle is Yoda's Force dyad. False. Nope. We're not entertaining this further than right now. Nope.
Man, somebody needs to do Yaddle justice, man. Justice to Yaddle.
This was a throwaway.
Question 20. What's the best city to host Star Wars Celebration? It's going on in Anaheim, right?
Yeah, Anaheim right now.
How many of you guys
Where
are
else
going
have they
to it?
done it?
Are you going?
I'm in Canada. I'm not about to go down there for
we're East Coast.
and maybe if it's like in New York City, maybe maybe, or if it was like Montreal or even somewhere in Canada, maybe I'd go. But nah, can't be going all the way to Anaheim. Are you're right there though? You're in Hollywood, aren't you? Obsession.
I am in Vegas.
Oh my bad.
But yes, I will be there. We're going
closer.
That's what's up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're going. We're gonna meet up with Sheev.
Nice.
Best city, just so you know, to answer this question again, the correct answer is Las Vegas. Lots of convention space, easy to get tickets, cheap rooms, lots to do.
And they can announce the Rian Johnson trilogy finally, and then not do it. They'll be like, "What's going on?" No. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. What are you talking about?
That's fine. Perfect. I love it. Sold.
Listen, you give that man 3 movies and stay the hell away from him.
Look. I'm gonna be real. You put Charles Soule or Soul, as I
give
call
him Soul. Yeah, give him Soul.
I like the E, but Charles Soule and Rian Johnson together, bro. That's a dyad that would get real nasty. You want to see some dyad? You want to see some good storytelling, bro?
Okay.
That Charles Soule can put on a show. You give him a great storyteller like him to a director that's talented.
You know
Rian
who
Johnson.
he is?
I know who Charles Soule is. I read some of his
just got
X-Men
promoted.
comics.
He just got promoted at Lucasfilm to creative consultant.
That means nothing to me because the one giving the promotions isn't someone who I believe highly of. But if Dave Filoni can read that script,
that's a Dave Filoni hire, my guy. That's not a Kathleen Kennedy hire.
Dave
Filoni, that's a story guy. All roads through Story Group lead through Filoni now. Kathleen has learned her lesson, and she knows that Dave Filoni is in that executive Story Group office. And if there's a hire for story, that goes through Dave.
Yeah, that is good news then. Good.
Yeah.
Okay, Charles Soule. Hey, yeah. And Rian Johnson can just direct. Go.
That's it. Just direct. Just don't story tell. Don't write. I was wrong. I went back on IMDb. I would not be surprised if there's a ghostwriter in there, to be honest. I don't buy it, but I stand corrected.
Back to the question about the city. It would have to be like a city in America or some English speaking place, right? Maybe they can go to London, England, or one of the other.
I love Vancouver, my guy. Let's go to Vancouver.
They shoot everything there, right?
Let's go to Vancouver, dude. Vancouver is a baller city.
So I hear.
So beautiful, dude. Like, let's go there. Do that shit there. Let the Canadians get involved.
All right, Vancouver, best city to host Star Wars Celebration. Any other like city shout outs that we're gonna go to? No one. San
Orlando.
Francisco?
I mean, if you're gonna do it at Disney World.
Yeah.
If you're gonna announce big shit, go to Disney World.
Chicago wasn't bad. It was just cold and rainy and snowy.
Even in May?
It was in April that year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it was like that whole week it was snow.
Damn. Yeah, April's funny like that.
Yeah,
you could, and you just had some bad luck and got some snow.
That's why I'm saying Vegas is great because it's nuclear hot outside in May, and you just want to be inside in the convention floor anyway, right? So, and what else do you want to do? You want to go drink at the bar with all the homies you're meeting, all the other creators and stuff. What better place than that? Like I said, Vegas is cheap.
Mm-hmm. Jared says that Anaheim is pretty good. Only thing is, it's also a baseball season right now, so kind of even more crowded in that area right now with the Angel games. I guess the arena is right next to it, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Things I would have never thought of. It's also AAU basketball season. That matters? Okay.
Yeah, man.
Well, and then it's easy to get Anaheim is good because it's not downtown Los Angeles, which is a huge pain in the butt, but it is close enough to private car or helicopter, big actors or studio, anybody executive that wants to get there and back. You can helicopter in from LA relatively easily. So Anaheim is a good choice because a lot of the people are in LA already.
Question 21. What did Luke Skywalker do the day before Star Wars starts? Well, he wasn't at Tashi Station because he really wanted to go on that day.
I think he was breaking down in his speeder because he didn't have the right power converters, and that's why he needed to go to Tashi Station the next day.
Exactly. Yes, it was definitely a power converter related thing that he did. Yep. Yeah, you nailed it. He didn't see any Jawas.
No, I mean, I think he pulled his speeder home. He was just like one step at a time, pulling my speeder home, and then he gets home and gets yelled at because he's late. And they're like, "That's it, more chores for you, you son of Anakin Skywalker." And then
another year.
Yep, exactly. And then you son of Anakin Skywalker, now go do your chores. And then he's like, "I'm gonna get some power couplers so I don't have to do this anymore." That's it.
Where's that prequel? Yes.
Oh man,
it's a comic book somewhere, I'm sure.
Who is Chewbacca? Who is he? Who is Chewbacca? Is he a Wookiee? Is he a guy? Is there a man behind that Wookiee? Who is Chewbacca?
He's the crown prince, dude. Chewbacca is the crown prince of all Wookiees.
Is he?
He was the right hand of Tarful.
Is he?
I would think so. That's what I want to say. I want to say he's like a prince, or like the son that didn't want the crown or something. Like that's what I want Chewbacca's real backstory to be.
I think he's like the wingman that's like the fixer too. So like you're having issues in your life and you just need that dude that's like, bro, just do this. And you're like, wow, why didn't I think of that? Like, I think Chewbacca is reliable as far as like his loyalties and things like that.
Thank you, Hawks. Here, give me some because you just set it up for me. Boom. Okay, so Chewbacca is that girl that fixes you, right? Hear me out. Han Solo's a hot mess when he meets Chewie. And all of a sudden, Han's life starts going better when he meets Chewie. And he's got his partner in crime, his road dog, for the rest of his life when he meets Han Solo. But he's got to keep Han in check because Han's like that crazy chick, right? That just wants to do crazy shit all the time. And Chewie's like, yo, reel it in. And sometimes Chewie's got to put Han over his shoulder and be like, no, we're legit not doing that shit. No, let's go to the Falcon. I'm going to put you in the box. That's it. Let's go. So he's the ride or die home dog that keeps you out of trouble. I mean, look what he did for Rey after Han died. You know, he basically was like, you're my new road dog.
He's the type of being that drives a stolen limousine wearing an Imperial Admiral's hat.
Yeah, dog. That's my dog. He's ride or die, bad boy for life.
He's that bro. He's that guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's brown chrysanthemum.
Right.
Brown chrysanthemum.
Light skin chrysanthemum.
See, you want to talk about a Wookiee Royal Rumble? That's a fight I want to see, bro.
Yeah, man.
And it could happen. They're both alive in the same time period.
Hey, but can we do it in CGI maybe?
Yeah, for real. Can we do it animated?
They're not gonna fight practical, please.
I mean, I don't know. Watching somebody like Brock Lesnar and like The Undertaker getting some Wookiee outfits and like battle it out on the streets of Tatooine. Like, yeah, dude, let's
give
that
Vince McMahon any ideas.
Let's do that. Absolutely.
Don't give the WWE any ideas.
Someone's gonna get seriously injured.
Oh man, I can see that. I can see that shit now. Like,
The husband to Mala, father to Lumpy, son of Itchy. That's the Christmas the holiday special.
Ugh.
Question number 20. Wait, I skipped a question. 3. Did the librarian Jocasta Nu apologize for if an item doesn't appear in our records, it does not exist?
No, she didn't.
She had to have apologized. I think Kenobi's the guy who visits the library often. You know, it was the first place he went to, so it's probably
That's
the
her
next
library.
It's her library. But
Yeah,
it's
she
also...
don't apologize to nobody.
Yeah, I don't think so either, because I don't think she feels any fault in it because Dooku basically erased it. You know, I mean, somebody on the council, somebody at that high level had to erase it. I don't think she even realized that it had
she
been
didn't.
erased.
She didn't know that there was like gravity pulling all the stars around there because he never broke that down to her.
Right.
He did to the kid later on,
right?
Who was like, "Master, maybe someone removed it." That kid knew, he had context, so even a kid could figure that out. Jocasta Nu didn't, so she probably was like,
"Well," and Jocasta's like, "Look, if it's not, she's a librarian, right? She's like, look, the book's there. If it's not in the book, it's not in the book. That means it doesn't.
If it ain't in the Dewey Decimal System,
yeah. If it's not in Dewey, we're not. It doesn't exist, right?" And he's like, "Well, I got to go talk to somebody better." And then he goes to talk to Yoda. That's like, "Yo, where is this missing planet? I don't know what this guy's talking about. I trust my guy, but he's like, yo," and then it's like, no, and he's like, "All right, let's see what's going on." They put the little holo map on, and all of a sudden, they realize, they zoom in, and they're like, "Oh, well, all the stars, everything's pulling stuff here." And the little kid's like, "You're missing it. Somebody erased it, dude. What? How is this so hard?" Right? Because they don't want to believe that kind of synastry exists, right? That's part of the mislogic here, is that this is a society of people that is ever trusting, right? There's no, yes, they lie to each other and they fit, but they're not malicious.
We not talking Pearl Miller syrup.
No.
Hey,
so yeah, I would say
no. This whole stream,
right?
No way, man. She runs a tight ship. It's not her fault. All these little sneaky bastards are running around. Hey, what's up, Basco scenario? He says
she got bamboozled too, because I mean, that's like he said, that's her library. Everything in there, she gives access to the restricted section. She's got a restricted section of her own where she keeps all like the super G14 classified stuff. So yeah, man, that's not on her.
Hey, that's what Shaquille O'Neal says on Inside the NBA. G14 classification. What is G14? Is that a status in the army?
It's a military code. It's just a G14 is the ongoing joke, because that's what they say on like military TV shows when there's like a secret thing. They're like, "Okay, look, this is G14 classified."
All right, so let me break this down.
Yeah, go ahead.
Actually, a Rush Hour reference.
Yes.
So when Chris Tucker in Rush Hour was given a job with the FBI, he basically walked around and told everybody it was G14 classified what he was doing.
And it's and since then it's been an ongoing thing in comedy. Yeah.
Yes.
And you see it in television also. You'll see they'll be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, this is G14 classified." And I say that in my real life when people are like, "Oh, I need that information." I'm sorry, that's my guy. That's G14. You can't have that. I'm sorry.
Detective James Kata.
Yes.
I've seen the movie. I just don't remember that.
The originator.
Yeah, because that's what he's saying the whole time. He's like, "I'm working with the FBI. It's G14 classified. Don't you worry about it. It's G14 classified."
Yeah.
It's like in Naruto when they have an S rank mission.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
24. Which Lego episode was the best to play? How many of you guys have played the Star Wars Lego video game?
Oh, I have started.
I played the prequels.
I haven't gotten a couple.
I played the sequels.
At all.
Oh, so you played the sequels only?
So I played the sequels first because nobody else was playing it. So I felt bad. I felt some real love towards the sequels, and I was like, "You're getting no love. You're like the kid in the back of the room in the corner with the dunce cap on. Nobody wants to play with you." So I went over and I took the cap off. I pulled the sequels out of the corner. We had a great time. Honestly, the sequel game was long as F, to be real honest. Like 2.5 hours just to get through story.
So did you prefer 7, 8, or 9?
I mean, I kind of honestly, I think 9 was the most fun.
Okay.
Just because the missions were different and weird and not like real story fun, and the way they poke fun at itself in the game. I enjoy that. I think the 7 was just the Force Awakens, right? You're just trudging through the desert doing your thing. But the last one, you went a lot of different places, and that was cool.
Scotty, you said you played the prequels. Did you prefer 1, 2, or 3?
Oh, I actually thought the second episode was cool. Like you could play as Jar Jar in the battle with all the big blue bombs going off. You're shooting catapults. You're fighting against the droids. That was cool to remember. I have not revisited the second movie over a decade, probably.
That was the first movie, wasn't it? With the droids?
No, that was the
Clone Wars.
Second. Yeah.
Clone Wars. That was the beginning. The Clone Wars have begun when they invaded.
Mm-hmm.
They fought the droids.
When they're fighting together against the droids, and then they first drop onto the planet and everything.
No, I think that was Force Awakens. I think that was the first one. Because Qui-Gon
was it the end of the first one? I didn't get far into the game, so that probably is true. Actually,
Qui-Gon gets involved in that battle, and it's a deterrent from Amidala taking her palace back. So that was the first one. The second one was the Grievous, episode.
And Freddie Ray.
There's a lot of Easter eggs, man, in the Lego games. Like you can choose to not save Anakin in the beginning and run him over with your speeder, and there's this whole dialogue that takes place.
Nice.
Well, did you see the Anakin, the little boy Anakin meets Darth Vader, and he sees the suit, and he's like, "Man, that's cool. Where do I get one of those suits?" And Vader's like, "Patience."
Freddie Ray, which Lego episode was the best for you to play?
I can't even comment because I'm that guy that hasn't gotten past episode 1.
So you started it in Phantom Menace, and then you wanted to get there.
I want to go through it from episode 1 through 9, but man, I just haven't gotten that far into it yet.
Which order did you watch Star Wars in? 1 through 9, or did you start?
Oh, no. I started with I was OG trilogy. I started with 4, 5, and 6.
I had the opportunity because I only became a Star Wars fan since the trilogies were done, right? All 6 movies. So
okay,
I'm like, let me just watch 1, 2, 3, then 4, 5, 6. I knew that 4, 5, 6 happened, in the 70s and 80s, but I was like, well, numbers, so let me watch it that way. It's not like I didn't know Vader and Luke were father and son. Everyone knows that. So I had the luxury of doing it that way. People in the live chat over here say, no one understands the words coming out of your mouth. Oh, yeah. Which one of y'all kicked you? What, are we just...
I would say for me, I played the OG, original Lego Star Wars game. I'd say, the original trilogy.
I'd say the originals have the most nostalgic feeling to them, right? You're going through the trench run, you're Luke Skywalker, you're doing that whole Vader fight. There's a lot of more nostalgia, I think, with those 3. Okay. I did the sequels because no one was streaming the sequels. That's really everybody was streaming 1 through 6. So I was like, I'm gonna be different. That was it.
Nothing wrong with that.
Not at all.
25. What is the hardest name to say that you are happy you have learned? Okay. Most complicated name in the history of Star Wars. We've got a doozy. We've got Quinlan Vos. There's Kit Fisto, which we mentioned earlier. There's some hard ones to say. Black Chrysanthemum, Jocasta Nu. What's a difficult one that you can say that, common guy can't?
Probably that Black Chrysanthemum, because I call him Black Wookiee.
Yeah.
So I just...
Hey, even Boba Fett just goes Santo.
Yeah.
Black Chrysanthemum is definitely it, because I was like, that's just blacker than me. I don't...
Because sometimes I call him chrysanthemum, croissant. It's Black Wookiee. You're Black Wookiee.
Yeah.
There are some really hard Imperial names to pronounce. Some of the officers when you're reading them that are really I haven't heard that name, but I know it's difficult to say. So there's a lot of I think Imperial officers have the toughest names.
Any that you can name? What's Tarkin's first name?
Grand Admiral.
Yeah, right. Moff Gideon is another one. That's
the
Moffs.
Yeah. Some of the Hutts. What is it? Dusilda the Hutt, or Durga the Hutt, Jabba's predecessor. The Hutts have some pretty gnarly names. Nero was one of the easy ones, Jabba, but the Hutts have some pretty gnarly names.
Oh, there's Wilhuff Tarkin. Thank you. It's like the Wilro Hood. That was a name also. Well, what the hell is this? Say
exactly. What is that? What is that?
Say it.
Sleaze
That's an eye
Bagano?
chart, right? That you
Oh,
just
do you
pulled
guys remember,
letters off an eye chart, bro.
Elan Sleaze Bagano.
Do you guys
That's-
remember Thunder Fist? What was that guy's first name?
No
There's
idea.
a Thunder
Yeah,
Fist
hold up.
character named
Yeah,
Thunder
I
Fist.
got it. He's a Star Wars character. Yeah.
Sebulba.
Sebulba, yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty easy to me, Saboba. That's easy.
But nothing's topping this one.
Elan Sleaze Bagano. Or it might be Sleze Bagano.
Right.
It was
It's the French version, yes.
Right.
wasn't Thunder.
French version.
It wasn't Thunder. It was like
Bagano.
Scissor.
Yeah, there's a lot of huts, dude. There's a lot of huts that basically their names look like eye
Yo.
charts.
Therm
Mala-
Scissor
Mala-
Punch.
Therm
I love
Scissors Punch.
Therm Scissor Punch.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a character.
It's like a compound word, though. Scissor punch. It's like, we can get there. Maybe a little tongue twistery.
He was one of the randoms on Maz Kanata's.
That's
Maz
one right
Kanata's
there. You
castle.
just said Maz Kanata. That was a hard one to
Yeah.
learn.
I think that was one probably I'm proud of actually knowing how to say it.
Who's the first guy who speaks in episodes Force Awakens? Lauren Santeca.
Lord Santeca.
Oh, Laura Santeca.
That's a difficult one.
Mm-hmm.
Lauren Santes.
That one for y'all.
Oh,
This one.
Obsession will remember this one.
Hey, that one.
Keurig Infilla.
Infilla. I get it wrong.
He's the
every-
Jedi that Vader takes his kyber crystal from in the comic.
I kept calling him Infilla.
Keurig Infilla.
Kirak Infilla.
Hey, next week we're doing the same thing, but we're asking about planets. Wait, who? Paddock Jabba Tekets.
He's just on Wiki now.
Yeah, you're just
Yeah.
yeah, it's not fair.
Can't no one say any of that shit.
So many apostrophes. It's like a Wakanda. name.
I'm good, man.
32, 32. That's one
Yeah,
name, right?
Oh, you're Mithra That's Thrawn. Yep, you
Oh,
do
yeah.
this all the
Yeah, he's
time.
a hard
Aglax.
Yeah.
Yep.
Question number 26. Was it the decision of one man to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of Mandalore? Was it all on Moff Gideon?
No.
Nah.
That was Palps, baby.
Yeah, it's part of contingency.
That was all Palps.
They were the next largest faction next to the Jedi.
The Warriors.
Yep.
He had to wipe out all warriors from the galaxy so that they could reign supreme, and Beskar was valuable. So it wasn't just a play to take the Mandalorians off the table. They were the last. I mean, look at what happened. The Wookiees were one. That's why the clones. That's why the Separatists went after the clones or the Wookiees, and then the clones came in and then finished them off. He took all of his adversaries off the board with the Clone Wars except the Mandalorians, because he couldn't get in there because it's a federation of neutral planets. So there's 2,500 planets under the watch of Mandalore. And so he couldn't go in there without them asking for help. So he fabricates, or Maul actually out of nowhere fabricates this thing that just benefits him. And so when Palpatine saw didn't really have to do anything. His troops were already on the ground to take Mandalore out, and then the starships were in the air. So it's only a matter of time before he had to take the last threat to the Empire off the board, as well as basically raiding the vault.
Pretty much.
Question number 27 is 33 burning Star Wars questions. It's me chilling with Scotty's chilling with Lavish chilling with Freddie Ray, Star Wars Obsession, SSJ, K.Thanks. Go check us all out because we all got channels and we make good stuff happen on our channels. Is it overkill? Except for K.Dot. K.Dot, you're like blocked for a week, aren't you? Aren't you like not posting for a week because of something that you posted? Isn't that what you're going through right now?
I'll be back Tuesday.
Okay, cool. So if you want to find K.Dot, you know where to find him. Right here on Chillmonger. Question number 27, K.Dot. Is it overkill if Din Djarin is automatically good at flying his N1 starfighter?
No. I mean, I think if you know how to pilot these ships...
Doesn't that make him a Mary Sue, though?
No, it means he should be versatile. It's like let's someone knows how to shoot a certain gun. They should be, I mean, if you're good at shooting one gun, you should be able to shoot the rest at least, like know how to load it, do all that, clean it. I mean, he should be versatile in other stuff. If you're already good at one part of this, you should get good in others, because he's a bounty hunter, and there's times when he might get captured, needs to fly. He should know how to, he should know this stuff. So yeah, it's not overkill. It's something he should know. It would be silly if he didn't know how to fly. around, get to where you got to go, because he's bounty hunter, got to make money. He can't just make money on one planet.
Exactly. It is explained why. So I'm with you. And I never thought of it that way. If you're good with one gun, you're going to be good at all guns. Well, if you're good at flying one thing, you're good at flying everything.
Look, he was combat fighting a bus in space, right? I mean, literally a minivan. He had a Astro van that he's fighting and beating people with in an Astro van. And then you give him the keys to a Corvette, and he's like, "Oh, now I can really do some stuff," right?
Like, he escaped 2 X-wings too.
So and then you got to figure. I mean, he was Mandalorian before the Purge, right? Because he was on Mandalore. Moff knows him by name,
right?
And so he was obviously part of the Mandalorian faction. Maybe on Concordia, maybe he might not have been on Mandalore, but he was definitely involved and helmeted up and geared up already. So you have to figure that he had flown some Mandalorian starfighters before, and those are way, I think, more complicated to fly than the N1s.
Are you ready?
I hate that my brain always goes to like, what if he's force sensitive? But I think that the show is kind of hinted at like the line, a Mandalorian and a Jedi, they'll never see it coming. I think that's a huge line in the show. And the fact that like his parents are wearing these really fancy red robes, I feel like they could even been a part of like the Sinteca clan or other clans that are studying the Force or want to learn more about these people like the Jedi. And I think that the Force could have potentially brought him to Grogu because of those factors.
I got a hot take for you that I was talking to a couple people about, but they kind of shut me down. I love it when people shut me down because it gets me fired up to like come back, slip the jab, you know? So I was talking about Din being force sensitive and how I'm against it. I don't think it's real. I think it's a kind of a misdirect, a red herring, if you will. Din's parents were running from separatist army. So from the
because droids came up and pulled
from the droids, right? The droids were trying to kill them.
Uh-huh.
They were on a separatist planet, though. That's the hook that has me confused, is that everybody says, well, that was a separatist controlled planet. Well, was it a separatist controlled planet because the separatist army currently had control of it, or was it part of the separatist union? Right. This is the ongoing debate on Din's homeworld.
You think that'll ever be explained though in the show?
Possibly, yeah, because they have to go deep into where this all ends up and who ends up being the Mandalore, right? And there's a lot of argument right now between
the lineage or whatever.
The lineage, right? And so Bo-Katan is the line of the current good Mandalore, right? Then you have Boba Fett, and this is why I think Boba Fett is important in Mandalore and why everybody shitting on him is going to eat a little bit of words later. I
said nice things. I like the show.
Yeah, is that Boba is the descendant of the true Mandalore, right? So Jango Fett had a teacher who he was the successor of the true Mandalore. And then you have this last person involved in this, who is Din Djarin, who is a descendant of the Watch, who is the last other sect of Mandalorians. These three groups are going to work together to rebuild Mandalore, but only one of them can hold the Darksaber and call themselves leader. And so this is why all of these things are coming into perspective, and Din being force sensitive is kind of where they're trying to get people to look. But really, I think the Jedi would have came and got him because he was alive during the time of the Clone Wars.
Now, here's the thing, though. You could have a little bit of midichlorians, like that blind character in Rogue One. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a little bit of midichlorians inside of him. There wasn't enough of those microscopic life forms living inside of him to
activate the Force.
Yeah, but you get a little something in there. And maybe Din, just like Poe, grew up next to that tree, like we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Poe had a little bit of Forcey. It's not the Force. It's like the nudge.
Right.
It's almost there.
I think him flying an N1 starfighter is just an extension of his amazing talents as a bounty hunter and as a Mandalorian. I don't think that necessarily has to do with his Force ability.
Goes back to Rey. The fact that this dude can drive a car and hit Ish with a stick is not that insane of a skill set.
Yeah.
Well, because we know he trained for it, and like
Right.
he was brought up by those fighters, Mandalorians.
Right.
28. Who was the ugly Sonic of Star Wars?
The ugly Sonic of Star Wars, like
Yeah.
the ugly parallel of themselves.
Yeah, the parallel. You're the reason for this question because I saw you tweet the thing, but with the Chippendale movie,
which was a lot of fun.
The ugly parallel.
I would say original Yoda from the original trilogy.
Oh, the four-finger Yoda?
No, I'm sorry, not from the original, from the prequel trilogy.
You're talking
original
about
Yoda from Phantom
The puppet that no one
Phantom
liked. Yeah.
Phantom Menace Yoda.
You mean the one with the different finger count?
There you go.
Yeah.
That crusty looking, like, yeah.
That is a great answer,
That
and
was
I
a
don't think
bad
anyone
look.
can challenge that.
No, I think that's
bad look.
Because you see, we knew what he was supposed to look like, and he didn't.
And it was like, no.
And the fact that they looked over his finger count, like that's like, come on, bro. What, like, did he get one chopped off at one point and just like a lizard, it just stayed
Is it,
chopped off? It was like, nah, bro.
Is it Amber Heard in that movie?
Oh.
Is it too soon for insert number ugly Inquisitor?
Oh, there you go. That dude may win it, to be real.
I don't know. You can pick him. You can pick the fifth brother.
Fifth brother.
Like, I'm just saying.
Metachlorians sound like a disease. She gave me metachlorian.
I wish she'd give me metachlorians. Let me pick up the remote from across the room like I've been trying to do since I was 5.
Right. Chippendale being a stealth Roger Rabbit sequel was awesome. That was bad. Grand Inquisitor might be next. Yeah, okay. So Grand Inquisitor, the Wolfman mask. Nah, I'm not mad at that one.
Nah.
We can forgive that. 1977.
I don't know. I really can't say it was ugly, like, parallel.
I think Yoda's the only one, man.
I was gonna say Anakin, but like I don't hate even the live action version of Anakin. Obviously, the Clone Wars version of Anakin is way better because totally different character, but better, cooler. But they are the same person. But I do not hate the live action portrayal of Anakin either. Yes, he's slightly a little bit more whiny, but I don't think he's bad either. So I was gonna go with Anakin, but nah. I don't know. I can't really think of any ugly parallels.
It's tricky. It is.
I mean, I would say Jar Jar if there was like a good version of him, and like maybe Clone Wars, and then the opposite live action one, but they're both consistent.
What about new bib for tuna versus old bib for tuna?
Yeah,
Fat bib.
That one too.
That's a good one. Jared says Kit Fisto.
That's a good one.
Yeah, man. I swear you, Fat Bib was a slouch. He had like shit drooling,
salami hanging out his mouth, and a sandwich in his pocket.
I was like, dang, bro, you know.
Hell no.
Objection, K. Hearsay.
Any of the
sustained.
Any of the characters in the special editions.
Everything in Resistance.
Oh.
What exactly happened in who watched Resistance?
I did. I can spoil it.
Why should I watch that show? Why shouldn't I? What did that show accomplish?
I mean, it is a kid's show. There's cool Easter eggs. So the main character's parents were on Hosnian or in the Hosnian system when they literally call it now the Star Killer Base incident. So that SBI will be like 30 years BSBY or whatever, the Star Killer Base incident. So his parents were killed in that. And then the whole like trading whatever dock that they're on in the end is revealed to be a sunken Star Destroyer that's just vertical under the water, and nobody living on it knew about it. They're able to take it off. So they're like in space in this thing now, and that's how the show ended. So, I mean, I don't know if they'll pick up on it. The main character is cool, though. Like, the main character is cool. He could show up.
It's a tough watch. If you can grind through it, there's a couple pearls in there, and there's a little bit.
They're racers too. They're like they're pilots, and there's this whole economy with like not pod racing, but they are racing over the ocean in
no
ships.
Force stuff, no visions, no powers.
Not really.
No.
Just dealing with the Empire and the First Order. You see the kind of the transition from the Empire to the First Order a little bit more. But
Question 29. Would you trust Bryce Dallas Howard with a Mara Jade series? The answer is yes.
Hell yes. She could play her.
She could, couldn't she?
I'd trust that woman with anything.
Yeah.
Like, she can act. Like, she's like Peter Pan, man. She can fly, she can fight, she can crow. Like, she can do it all, baby. She is like the triple threat of director, storyteller, actress. Like, she's just got it all.
She came from Ron Howard, so I
mean, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It's a prodigal daughter, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's after that Mandalore episode of Boba Fett, which was like hers. Shit, she could do whatever she wants to do with Star Wars. If Robert Rodriguez from his one episode got him the Book of Boba Fett series, she has done enough now.
And Bryce is involved in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, correct?
No, Deborah Chow is doing that one.
It's Deborah Chow.
Is Bryce at all like in there?
I think she's around. I don't think
so. Deborah's directing all that by herself.
That's one show all her own. That's something that they learned with. That's something they really learned hard.
I hope we get spinoffs for like Vader and like no joke. I think Bryce could do a Vader.
Here's the thing.
I have full confidence.
They can't give Bryce a movie, right? She has Here's the thing. She's never directed a movie, right? So for the large leap from series to movie, that's a big responsibility on cutting a 30-40 minute episode to a 2.5 hour theatrical trailer or theatrical film. I think she could do it, but I think she has to do a whole series first before they'll give her the opportunity to do a silver screen.
Yeah, I would agree with that, because what a series has, similar to a movie, is like an ending. You actually get the full story. But when you give her an episode, okay, listen, your arc there's no real arc. It's just you got the character doing things today. Right. Direct that. So it's not the same as doing a movie.
That's what I think. I think they give her a full show, something in the realm of after this whole Ahsoka series stuff is done, I think the next one could be hers. I would like to see her direct The Acolyte. I think she has such a grip for what Star Wars is that I think she would be an awesome storyteller for the darker side.
Darth Chaos says that there's no point in Amara Jade. I understand why you would say that. Freddie Ray, would you trust Bryce Dallas Howard with Amara Jade series?
Oh, hell yeah, without question. I mean, just look at the work she's put out. I think too, like just taking it larger from Bryce, with Dave Filoni kind of at the helm of the story group now, like you can bring in like a Rian Johnson now and do some creative stuff or give them the creative liberty, because now you have somebody. It's kind of like the same formula that they have with Marvel. You've got Kevin Feige to keep you inside the box. As long as you don't color outside of Kevin Feige's box, you can do what you want with Marvel and make a unique movie. So I think, yeah, whether it's Bryce Dallas Howard or anybody, as long as you've got Dave Filoni kind of steering you in the direction of where the overall story is going, yeah, she'd kill it. I think she'd kill it. It'd be dope.
And she's got the chops, man. Like directing, she's got the directing chops. She just needs more of a full arc experience before you can give her a trilogy or a show. Look, Mara Jade, bring it. Bring Mara Jade. Let her be at Luke's new temple later. Let the dark thought that turned Luke be Kylo killing Mara Jade. Then can you justify that shit? Then can you justify the thought?
It helps.
You know what I mean? Like,
yo, we kind of also we breezed over the Vanity Fair because there's a lot of like, whatever divide in there. But Kathleen also heavily implied they're looking for a Feige. Like they're looking for somebody to come in and take control of a thing. Like she I can't remember exactly what they said, but she said it's hard to find these types of people that want to come in and commit to that kind of a thing. So
something about 5 years.
And look, here's the thing. In that moment, she was talking about Rian Johnson. Let's cut through the hogwash.
Well, true, but like
she was talking about
I think
Rian
she's
Johnson.
talking about a grander thing too.
Rian Johnson.
She's not going to be there forever.
If we're cutting through hogwash, the Rian Johnson trilogy ever coming out is hogwash. We know that
I agree.
He's divided the fandom so much. They're just going to him and
on that bone though. She's still trying to suck the bone marrow out of that bone, right? She wants Rian Johnson, and not in a sexual way. I meant that like a dog. She's trying to get Rian Johnson to be there, but he's got already doing the Knives Out 2. Then he's got a 3 to 4 year deal with Netflix. So that already puts him on the rack for 5 years.
I don't believe that. I believe that he would prefer to do a Star Wars trilogy, but since
already
there was no water coming out of that well.
No, the contracts have been
He's already
signed
up. Yeah.
He's already doing Knives Out 2. He's already in the middle of it.
There's a
and he
spin-off
signed
show
a
too.
3-year deal with Netflix. The contracts have been signed. That's why she can't grab him.
Is the contract for Star Wars trilogy signed? Is that signed?
No. But I'm saying
always...
he's contractually committed to a non-compete while he's got this contract with Netflix.
I don't disagree. I recognize that. I'm just saying that the Star Wars there was no water coming from that well, so he goes, "Let me go to Netflix." Since these guys are saying they'll let me do a Knives Out.
For sure.
What's happening over at Lucasfilm? No, you're not. No, not yet. Okay, I guess I got to do this other thing. Which good for him. He's making his money. I'm not watching any of his movies.
I think he was blackballed by the Star Wars community for a long time, and he wasn't even an option until now. When things
you couldn't touch him. You couldn't. There was about a good, I think, 3-year period there where you could not have Rian Johnson's name attached to anything new Star Wars related.
I think Disney. I don't even think Star Wars. I think Disney.
Yeah, Disney. Yeah, it was that shit was real. Like, it was. Fans were feeling some type of way, and in some ways rightfully so. But
I think that was a secret coded message to Ryan. I'm dead ass serious. I think she basically said, "Finish your commitments, and in 5 years, I'm still going to be here because I just got my re-up. You got a job 100%. If you want it, right?" 100%. And I think that's literally was a coded message to Ryan. That wasn't we're looking for a Feige. Look, I'm gonna tell you right now, Marvel ain't giving up Kevin Feige.
Hell no.
I'll tell you right now, Kevin Feige comes over here
in the
middle of the fourth phase release going into the fifth. Marvel will die, right? Ain't no way Disney's going to say, yeah, go ahead, take Kevin Feige. You know why they got Jon Favreau? Because Jon Favreau ain't Kevin Feige. That's why. That's it.
He's good, though. He is as good as Feige. I don't think that Kevin Feige.
I don't think so. No, hell no. No. I think he pioneered what's going on here. I think he pioneered good comic book movies for Marvel. Yeah. But I think once Feige got involved, it was the Feige show, and Jon Favreau is the hold my beer guy.
I think we'll see as good of Mandalorian content as we are at Marvel. So I agree with the fact that he could be the Feige of the Mandalorian storyline.
I don't think so. I still think Dave Filoni is the Feige of the Star Wars universe, and John is just an added tool on the belt to help him direct and produce.
Exactly.
Yeah, Jon Favreau is not as good as Feige. Feige's on another level.
Well, since Favreau and Filoni are together and work all right with each other, they might as well be the same thing. Fine. Filoni is the
but I feel like it takes two men at Disney to accomplish what Feige does.
Right.
I feel like
at Lucasfilm.
Yeah, I'm at Star Wars. I feel like at Star Wars, you need the Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni dynamic duo to do the live action stuff and to do the stuff on the silver screen right now. Whereas Feige is the only piece you need.
Yeah, because the thing with Feige and the unique skill set that Feige has is he has the chops in Hollywood, but he's also a Marvel nerd. Like he knows that shit inside and out. So you're saying, okay, well, where am I going to find somebody that knows Star Wars inside and out like that, but also has the chops in Hollywood? You're not going to find somebody
just
like
did
that.
Together. Yeah, you're right. Not one guy.
Not one
Filoni
person.
has the nerd,
Favreau, right?
And Favreau has the Hollywood.
It takes those two to equal one Filoni, right? And the only reason that John is able to tell a lot of these stories is because he is with the apprentice of George Lucas. It's basically being there with George Lucas, right? I mean, Dave Filoni is the next George Lucas for Star Wars, and that because he sat at the right hand of the man, he still probably goes to him for advice on what do I do with this character? I'm kind of conflicted, but Jon Favreau is not the grand storyteller.
Fine. He's
the partner in crime, but yeah, Feige's the man. Just no equal as a one individual person.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you're not gonna. That's a unicorn.
So if Kathleen's looking for that, she's looking for a unicorn. Yeah, she might as well go to the forest and start looking for a natural born unicorn.
If I could make a Star Wars show, it would be a Halo drama company in universe making Luke Skywalker movie with Mara Jade. I would like that. Divided the fandom. There's like 10 dudes on the internet mad about Star Wars. Otherwise, everyone is still living in a world where kids eat. Okay, there. All right, there, buddy. 30. Since the name stinks, What would you rebrand Star Wars Celebration? It does stink. That's not a good name. Celebration is not exclusive to the Star Wars franchise. Should be better. Lightsaber.
Does Marvel have a con?
They do Comic-Con Hall H.
But that's just but do they have a con that's just Marvel?
No, but if they did, they'd probably call it True Believers Day.
But they don't, though.
But they don't. My point is they don't, right? And Comic-Con.
Why are you introducing Marvel into this question? Okay, go.
Star Wars goes to Comic-Con, right? But they created their own con. If Marvel created their own con, it would have an awful name too.
I would be mad. I would be equally as mad at that. And on MCU questions, there would be a question asking, "What would we rename?"
Yeah, Marvel I don't dislike Celebration. I kind of like the name of Celebration. I think Celebration is a good name because it is a con specifically. It's not a mega con. It's not a Grandicon where there's all these different people coming from Battlestar and from all this other stuff. This is a celebration of only Star Wars, only Star Wars merch, only Star Wars actors, only Star Wars panels.
So let's keep the word Star Wars in the name of this event.
I still think Celebration
eliminate Celebration with Star Wars
Fandom.
I mean,
Fandom is a cool name. Fandom, I like that one.
Fandom. Nah, DC already said that. And then put enough stank on it for no one to want to touch Fandom.
Right. Force Con is interesting.
I was gonna say you just got real hyped about something from DC.
Yeah, I mean,
I do feel like they did a justice with Celebration. It is a special celebration of only Star Wars. There's only Star Wars merch. There's only Star Wars booths. There's no other. It may be smaller.
You know how much celebrations there've been in Star Wars? You guys remember the end of Phantom Menace? Na 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 na.
Chillmonger, think about putting the words.
What was the name of that song?
Think about putting the words "True Believer" and Star Wars.
What was the name of that song?
What was it? It wasn't Duel of the Fates, but it was something.
No,
it wasn't Celebration though.
No, it wasn't. But whatever the name is, we call it that.
I mean, I agree with you. There are a lot of award ceremonies and call them celebrations if you want in Star Wars at the end. But yeah, I mean, I feel like Celebration is a good name because everybody there is celebrating Star Wars.
That's I mean, do it on May the 4th.
I mean, screw it. Let's call it Star Wars Christmas and just do it on Christmas then, because that's what it is for me.
Then you couldn't go to those cold cities because
you'd always
no hell no. I'm not going to those cold cities. Hell no.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, could they name it something different? Yeah, would it be better? I don't really know. I don't think so, because I mean, again, what exactly is it? It's a celebration of Star Wars. Like you're literally going to be amongst some of the most staunch Star Wars fanboys that exist, period. So, and it's a celebration. Like literally, you're standing in line with 1,000 people humming the Star Wars theme, in the snow, in the middle of a damn week. It was literally everything about it was a celebration. So it fits me.
I'll give you a better name here. A picture's worth 1,000 words. That's the new name for Celebration.
I like that better than Celebration. Star Wars Obsession.
Love it.
What do you think, Lavis?
Shoot, I don't know. When it comes to Star Wars, I mean, Celebration doesn't really sound bad to me. It doesn't strike me wrong, but I think you're probably looking for something that more describes Star Wars. That's probably why Celebration doesn't fit. So I don't know. It had to pick something out of Star Wars that when you hear that, it makes you think of Star Wars. That would probably be
Lightsaber Con.
No, that's too basic though. Lightsaber Con. I don't know. I'm joking, but Star Wars Awoke or Star Wars Waking or something like that.
Force Awakens.
Right, but that's the good
Force
Awakens. But
I like that. Hey, K-Dot, if you had to rebrand Star Wars Celebration, we can name the convention anything. We wouldn't name it Star Wars Celebration. We would name it Star Wars
Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. WalkerCon. SkywalkCon.
SkywalkCon isn't awful.
Some people would literally change Star Wars name to Luke Skywalker if they had the choice.
Right.
Well, you know me. You got to call it something like Jabba's Palace or the Death Star. Call it an actual name of a place in the Star Wars universe.
Exactly.
I just started
the cool planets.
Jabba's place, and then the actual event literally looks like Jabba's Palace. Like they literally built Jabba's palace, and you got a bunch of booths and all this stuff, and a place where they present.
See, I think you're thinking about this all wrong. Think what you call it, the Canto Bite pumpkin.
That works too.
All right,
all right, hold on.
That's
right. No, for me,
call it the Canto.
And that's the cue to move on.
Look,
right.
the idea that you guys have got into my head is
There
this,
we go.
Okay? If we do like a Tatooine themed convention, we could have Jabba's palace and everything. Then the next time we go to Canto Bite, we can have our horse races and gambling and whatnot. If we ever go to Las Vegas, Nevada, it'll be the Canto Bite Con. We could theme each convention Star Wars Tatooine, Star Wars Ilum, Star Wars this, Star Wars that.
I got a couple.
Mm-hmm.
So you can either go with Star Wars Midichlorians Awakens or Star Wars Like a Bantha.
Star Wars Like a Bantha.
Yes.
I go with that one.
No objections.
My man. Golden.
Perfect.
Trinity is running amok in here. The Force is certainly woke.
Oh.
The Khan awakens. Woke longer than I. That's like 9 a.m. on the East Coast. Y'all sleeping in?
Mm.
Hey, we should petition Disney to buy Star Wars Obsessions is right for a couple million. I don't think you'd give it up for like a couple thousand.
I would give it up if they just gave me exclusivity to go anywhere on any Disney thing, including the ranch. I'm in. So you can have it. Take it. Give me access, baby. My YouTube will blow the hell up.
I understood this reference, Daniel Fisher. Everyone else is lame. It's all about R2. You, my boy, R2.
I agree. R2's my dog.
Like a bantha. We're getting the bantha back together.
Yes.
Question number
Actually,
31. Yeah.
Convention Skywalker doesn't sound terrible.
As long as
Like,
Rey's
it
not
sounds
there.
like a way that Yoda would say it, actually. But I'm just
I digress.
better than
I have a good feeling about this con. 33 burning Star Wars question. Chillmonger, Hawks Holocrons, Lavis B, Freddie Ray, Star Wars Obsession, K. Dot. Question number 31 is, after Anakin himself, who was most responsible for his turn? After Anakin, we're not setting aside that. He's definitely to blame. But after him, it would probably go to, listen, Kenobi said it himself. I have failed you, Anakin. He said it twice. I have failed you. I'm going to give it to him.
Sidious, to Jedi, Obi-Wan. I mean, so many factors. Just
There's a lot of candidates.
Jedi not supporting him. The Sidious. Well, I'm going off the movies.
Sidious, yeah.
I'm going out the movies. If you go into deeper stuff, yes, Sidious plant seeds, but yes, Sidious, and by the third film, when he starts to talk to him, tell him the story about Plagueis the Wise, really trying to have Anakin like be closer to him, then yes, Sidious too.
Is it possible to learn this power?
I'm gonna go with the Force. I'm gonna say the Force is most responsible, because if the prophecy was to be believed, then that means the Force knew what it was doing from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a necessary pathway. Things that happened had to happen the way that they happened in order for us to get to the state of quote unquote balance that we got to at the end of Return of the Jedi. So in order for that to happen, you can't get there unless he turns. So I'm gonna say the Force.
I blame Kiadi Mundi.
What? What? Because he wasn't there that day? What are you doing?
No, he broke up the band. Look, it's
when did he break up the band?
Aside from Ahsoka leaving, Kiadi Mundi is the one that recommended Obi-Wan go and handle Grievous himself instead of keeping him and Anakin together. Right? So for me, they had just come off that clutch mission with Dooku.
Yeah.
Right? Why would you break the band up? They should have gone both to handle. Even Palpatine said it. I would be surprised if they didn't select you for this mission, Anakin. Right? But Kiadi Mundi, in his infinite wisdom, was like, no, I think General Kenobi should go by himself.
Damn.
Leaving Anakin in the hands of the Emperor.
Obsession, you got me. I was never going to think of that. But yes, that's
to me, it's on Kiadi Mundi.
Holy smokes.
Well, I blame two people. The first person I blame is Qui-Gon for bringing him in the first place.
Oh,
or he should have just let him grow up with his mama.
I know where you're going. The second one too.
And the second one which I'm just kind of learning this because it was my question, but it's apparently confirmed that the Emperor Palpatine was his dad. So I gotta blame his pops for not being there in the first place, to stop Qui-Gon from taking him, and for being a bad father in the first damn place. So those are the two
Daddy
people
was
I
Name
blame.
is Maury Povich.
Had me in the first half.
Damn, Maury. Look, and this is just my perspective on this, but Plagueis is ultimately responsible for the creation of Anakin. So if you really go back and read Plagueis and really understand who Plagueis was and what he did, Plagueis was trying to manipulate the Force to basically and broke rules of the Force. And when he broke those rules, there was so much dark energy that created the vergence that was Anakin Skywalker. So that act technically created Anakin Skywalker. And yes, Palpatine may have found out about the vergence through one of his rituals and started tinkering with Anakin at a young age, but ultimately Plagueis's dark act is what created the vergence.
Is Chaos saying not confirmed to you, or was he referring to somebody else?
I'm pretty sure it's to me, but that's basically the underlining story. If
not
you're
confirmed.
We're talking about the forced birth of Anakin being caused by Palpatine. A lot of people don't believe it.
Well, that's neither of them are
I think
confirmed because the comic book
it's
is
illustrated.
the comic book is the illustration that came out that said Palpatine was playing, but then James Lucerno's novel paints another circle. So it's
Didn't Sidious say in episode 9? I remember
authors
the line. I remember the line he said, "I made Anakin," like he made him. Y'all remember that line?
It is confirmed that Palpatine took a part in that. The comic for me confirms it. I don't think the authors of the comics are going to come out and ever say, "Oh yeah, that's exactly what happened." Like the author of the comic would never do that.
Here's one thing we got to understand about comic books and everything. In the 6th episode, was it where Luke says, "Here, Grogu, you can take the lightsaber. This used to belong to Yoda, or take this." Remember? Okay.
Yeah, about to trigger me.
Yeah,
about to trigger me.
About to trigger me.
Roger. Because if you want to talk about what authors of comics have said,
yes,
the author of that comic said it's not impossible that Palpatine would lie about that.
Right.
Yes.
And have a replica made of Yoda's saber, because everybody knows who Yoda is. The Jedi don't hide their damn lightsabers. Any Jedi out in the galaxy watching this HoloNet broadcast is going to see a Yoda saber being thrown into the fire.
Yeah.
It's a fear thing, dude.
Propaganda.
And we don't know the answers. We do not know the answers. I'm not sitting up here saying I know them. I just think it's possible Yoda made multiple sabers. And I also think it's possible that the Emperor would be smart enough to fake his death along with faking burning his.
But let me call to your attention the fact that the comic book people have to say stuff like that and talk that way of, it's still possible this way, it's still possible that way, shows you that they do not have any control of the stories. They are thankful if their creations make it on the big screen or the silver screen, but they are not actually in charge of anything. The guy who is Filoni, right? We established that. I heard of him talk about the comic book stuff like in this Disney era, and he said, well, that was never really canon. If you guys knew, those are just things like were suggestions.
But those are about specifics, right? But those are, now you're cherry picking what he's saying about specific situations that he has already confirmed in shows, in other media. So like when it does come to comics, the stuff in the comics is canon until proven otherwise by a movie or even a book. There are tiers to the canon. So when an author when an author comes out of a comic and says something ambiguous like that, it's not that they don't have control of the story. It's that we're not meant to know the answer yet.
See, and I
wouldn't write it. Why would you want them to even write the answer into it? Like, I love the fact that it's a question.
I mean, and for me, I'm a 900-year-old being.
That's another thing Charles Soule said, dude.
900 years? multiple sabers over the years is not necessarily a thing that wouldn't happen. My issue with it is I would rather see a scene in whether it's an illustration, whether it's a book, whether it's a show or movie, however you're going to show it, animated, live action, show me Luke finding an old home of Yoda's before Coruscant.
I think
or an old before the Jedi took over the Sith temple on Coruscant. He's been around so long. Maybe there was another temple that he built a lightsaber and left it there, and Luke finds
Finishes
it
his training by
journey.
himself. You don't think
I
he
just-
went back to where Yoda was?
I just feel like I could see somebody like Yoda saying, you know, new chapter of life this is. New saber must be built, right? Something along those lines, to where I have to let go of the old and find a new crystal. Like Hawk was saying, he's the last survivor of the old regime. That has to screw with you a little bit. And if one of those pieces is a lightsaber that he used during that era, putting it down and starting anew could absolutely be something I could see a Grand Master doing, right? So for me, that him having two lightsabers screws with canon a little bit, but at the same time, finding Luke finding that in another way on another show would be the perfect connection and show Yoda's brilliance in that. Maybe even a journal of Yoda's left behind for somebody to find, right? Luke went on this quest after he destroyed the Death Star, and after the Death Star was destroyed, to find these artifacts of Palpatine's, to find these hidden gems across the universe, potentially Jocasta Nu's hidden library, right? There's so many of these things that he went on a quest to find. Finding an old Yoda lightsaber in an old relic lost in time, like Tanthus. Did I say that right, Hawks?
Didn't they do that in the Battlefront 2
Tanthus?
story mode?
Mount Tanthus,
right?
the mountain,
Somewhere like that, where he found Grogu. Maybe show a scene where he goes in that temple after he finds Grogu and finds a little Yoda lightsaber in there. There's so many places where they did all of these rituals that would connect the dots and make it more believable.
Could, yes.
Yeah, could.
Anyway, we got away from the question, which was, after Anakin himself, who's the most responsible for his turn? Who didn't go? I don't want to skip to the next one until everyone goes.
I said everything I need to
skip into the next one. 32. Did Anakin win the Clone Wars? Hey, either way, Vader, certain point of view, that man came out on top. It's when he switched sides when it came to an ending. That man won the Clone Wars. I don't know about you guys.
Vader and Anakin technically same person, different person. It's not like they're like some Steven and Mark type of thing, but technically same person. So yeah,
I mean,
Anakin won the Clone Wars with Sidious.
Kind of like Steven and Mark and Jake.
I would say so.
I would say
I wouldn't say it's like, you know, I'm Vader now.
No, I mean,
I wouldn't say it's like that.
I mean, kind of. You can see that in that Ahsoka scene when he calls out for Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
That's the voice of Anakin Skywalker.
Facts.
Right? Like that's Anakin saying snips. That's Anakin slipping through the cage that he's trapped in.
Did the son of Shmi, regardless of what name he identifies as.
Yes, because he's the one that shut off the droids on Mustafar and gave the kill command to the separatist army. So yes, Anakin ended the Clone Wars.
Yep, totally.
He ushered in an era of awful suffering, but he did end the Clone Wars.
I will have no other way.
Actually, Anakin and Vader, Vader and Sidious downgraded clones with them horrible stormtrooper soldiers that can't seem to shoot for shit.
Facts.
That's the biggest downgrade I say in Star Wars. You go from these badass clones, perfect aim, all that, to stormtroopers. That's like the biggest downgrade of an army.
Checkmate. If everybody thinks that the checkmate move was killing the Jedi and taking over the Senate, that wasn't checkmate. That was one move before checkmate. Checkmate was dismantling and killing Camino and making sure there was no army that could rise up against him. And the stormtroopers they were an overwhelming force. They were not an accurate special force, right? So they could be beaten and disregarded easily without having to replace them, right? The checkmate move was disassembling the Grand Army of the Republic and replacing them with a bunch of boobs.
Right.
Because what's easier to rule? A bunch of intelligent, sharp, known soldiers, or a bunch of rando people that's putting on armor and getting paid, right?
Facts.
You're muted, my dog.
Shouts out to the Jedi that didn't tell the other council that he basically took the council money and say, "Yo, let me invest into this here. I ain't finna tell nobody about this secret investment I'm doing." And then they find out, like, what the heck? Who invested our money into this crap?
Well, and think
Right.
about it. He took
And
all
then
that
it came
money.
out to be something good. You know,
He took
sometimes
all
you gotta
that
take
money
those
that he was paying the
business
cloners
moves.
to clone clones, and he said, "All right, I'm gonna get that downgraded force from Wendy's and just put him in some armor and give him some blasters, and there's an overwhelming force, and I'm gonna put all that money towards my Death Star." Right? Like that's
Operations
basically what he did.
101.
That was checkmate.
You said what I wanted to say, K-Dot. Yes. Levi would have won the Clone Wars in a day. Levi? You mean Attack on Titan Levi? Who's Levi?
Jeans.
Is it Levi? Is that like a... I don't know.
Moving on.
Theo. Hello, Theo. Second Street Marvel also jumps in and he says, it was R2 all along. Yeah, right. Oh, yep. Levi from Attack on Titan. So, yeah, he would have. The last question of 33 burning Star Wars questions here with Hawks Holocrons, with the main authority, Lavis, Freddie Ray. Got Obsession. We got K-Dot. 33. What does Lucasfilm need to do to take advantage of James Earl Jones? That man is 91. I'm thankful that we got to hear his voice tell Ahsoka Tano that what he told her, and that was great in that Rebels episode. I would imagine that he filmed or voiced scenes in this new show, but during the COVID pandemic, maybe it wasn't safe to have him out. I don't know the answer to that question. I would hope. Does anyone know the answer? Is James Earl Jones in this?
I would assume it's his.
They asked Hayden Christensen about it, and he said no comment.
Yeah, it's a yes.
That means yes.
He's more likely back.
The technology now. So the technology nowadays,
Both voices.
We have a system here. My family, my brother, are what we do. We have a system that basically to do voiceover from mobile. It's a mobile voiceover unit. So we send them a piece of gear. They set up this piece of gear in whatever room. It's got a microphone. They put it into the internet, and from the studio or from wherever, they can listen to him reading the lines, give him directions, show him what they're showing him to view. I did a test record with a audio engineer in Japan from Las Vegas, and reading a script with a piece of video, and it went flawlessly. So the technology is there to put this kind of system in his home so that he can go over and read the lines at his discretion, and then they can be uploaded from his system. So I would say they've learned their lesson.
Oh my God.
In screwing with legacy characters. And to have Vader, you have to have James Earl Jones. It's like having Mufasa without James Earl Jones. That's impossible.
It's the same actor. Yeah.
Exactly. It's the voice.
Yeah, he was the one holdover from the Lion King animated movie to they didn't even use Whoopi Goldberg again or anything. That's amazing.
Maybe they can just get that the guy who plays Starkiller that does the voice for a bunch of Star Wars characters to do Vader's voice, because he does really great voices. Because mind you,
the fandom is so authentic. The fandom isn't going to put up with that shit. I'll tell you right now. They had a shit fit. They had a shit fit for all of this Boba Fett stuff. And
you know what I thought you were gonna say? They had a shit fit when it was his birthday and they wished Kelly Marie Tran a happy birthday. Remember that thing?
They had a shit fit. They had a shit fit when all of this sequel stuff and the inauthenticity that went on with that. Fast forward to Boba Fett and people are saying the inauthenticity with that. This is Darth Vader. This is the #1 villain in the entire world of all time. You mentioned Darth Vader, every person on the planet, definitely every person on the planet knows who Darth Vader is. They may not know everything about him, but they're like, yeah, that dark guy in a suit that carries that red stick. Sold. That's enough for me. Yeah. You know who he is, right? You know he's a villain. James Earl Jones is synonymous with that.
Yeah.
And they've learned their lesson. They cannot screw with legacy characters. She just did this 14-page interview that everybody and their mama has covered, saying we learned our lesson screwing with legacy characters. Darth Vader is the legacy character. Screw Luke Skywalker. Everybody knows who Darth Vader is. He is the legacy character. This is his story, technically.
So you do everything technologically imaginable to preserve the voice of what James Earl Jones has provided. Let him add more. I don't know. Have him say words like no, yes.
This is what they do. They paid James Earl Jones a boatload of money for his final run. He sits in the room reading the whole dictionary Say every single word in that.
Every single word
Every
in the
single
human
word. They
language.
record everything.
Yeah.
Straight
And
up.
You guys-
they got
Spanish too.
They can use it.
Write a
Like,
whole bunch of names you're gonna use in future Star Wars shows, and you say this name. Now say this name like you're angry. Now say this name like you're
No,
happy.
and I'm
Next.
no doubt that they've done
wait,
that.
I take
No
that
doubt
back.
that
I
they've
take
done that
that
because
he's too old for that. He might pass out trying to do all these languages and stuff.
he is going to be done at one point. He is going to be done. He is going to leave us. He is going to die one day. He is an old ass man who has had a legendary career and is a legendary man. And yes, they are going to use his voice one day with all this voice capture and all this voice manipulation. Yes, they are going to do that. The man is alive. This is mother effing Star Wars. He is literally a part of this for 40 years. If you genuinely think that James Earl Jones is not going to voice Darth Vader in this, you are out of your mind.
I have spoken.
It's part of him. It's part of him.
Right on.
Yeah, I
Go ahead.
can't say it any better. I will say this though. One of the things that I've been thinking about with like Lucasfilm and everything else, with the Star Wars movies, the big thing was always like how much of a technological marvel they were. Like the type of effects and stuff that they did, like with the original trilogy. Then when the sequel trilogy came out, all the CGI stuff for good or for bad. And so it's like that those type of technological leaps kind of go hand in hand with Star Wars. So I was kind of thinking about this, and I'm like, okay, so what's the next thing that Star Wars could do in terms of pioneering like some kind of a technological feat? This is it. They might find a way to like standardize these legacy characters to where we'll start seeing Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher. You'll have James Earl Jones 40, 50 years on. They still got these people showing up in movies because they end up mastering this technology with this deep fake stuff and with this voice analysis. Hell, you could have James Earl Jones playing Vader for the next century. Like
Right.
that's where it would be dope to see them kind of go.
Let's get there.
That's an interesting question though, man,
And
because
solve these problems today. Get those contracts signed now. Make the announcements today that we've preserved James Earl Jones. He's with us here. Here he is. He'll speak next. Now he's at the podium, man. Since I
Did you guys
job in
forget?
What?
You guys forgot about Ewan talking about his line in The Force Awakens.
They said Ray, and then
They took a part of
again.
they took a part of Guinness saying afraid and
yeah.
added it into. So they've already been doing stuff like this.
Yeah.
I think it'll be the
From
same
the
thing.
This is
But we
old
never
hat.
got Alec Guinness's permission for that. James Earl Jones is alive right now. Get him
Well,
in the podium and say,
and-
guys, you won't believe what I just signed.
But
It's
you're
gonna
right.
take
These
care of my
people's
family for
estates will be
generations."
being paid for.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
years of
Yeah.
money will be
and
going to
great,
my
but
estate.
the man
and
is
I'm
still
happy.
here. Screw that. The man's still here.
Right.
I want
So
his
while he's
voice. I
still
don't
here,
want
take
these
advantage of it.
this artificial shit. I don't want them piecing words together and trying to mold it because it'll sound good, but it's not authentic. Right now, he's alive.
Yeah, while he's alive.
Use him. Put all the voice stuff in the can for later, but he's here now. And to not use him now would be the biggest misstep in this show.
You can't do the show without him.
I'm
If
sorry.
You shouldn't
still breathing.
do it
No,
without him.
they can't.
You can't.
I won't. If
No,
it's not Vader, I'm telling you right now, if it's not James Earl Jones, I'm out. I don't say that often. That's not Vader. Vader's voice is James Earl Jones.
All right. Would we say this if James Earl Jones, let's say season 2 of Kenobi, and James Earl Jones isn't around? Let's say he dies. I
Then
don't
go
want him to die.
Yeah, then at that point, you got to do what you got to do.
If the vid gets him and he's 92 years old, whatever.
Yeah,
I don't
okay.
wish it.
Okay,
I
then.
want him to outlive me. But if he's gone, fair game. But he's here now.
That's a great way to put it. I want him to outlive me.
I want him to
Yeah.
outlive me, bro.
Oh,
Like,
let me
let's
ask
be
you a
real.
question, Obsession. Just yes or no, because it's a long question.
Yeah,
I just want yes or no. Are you for recasting T'Challa in the Black Panther franchise?
No. I feel like that's him forever. Like there's and the way no, I feel like change the character, give the suit to another person. You know, the throne moves on. Give him a ceremonial death in the shows, in the movies, in the franchise, and move on. Don't do the
That's cool. I don't have any follow-ups. It was just a yes or no because I didn't want to.
No, I don't want it. I would rather.
What you were saying about James Earl Jones and how you could only have one, but then once he dies, it's okay. That's the only reason why I kind of brought.
I would say no. I would say
Boseman has died.
Chadman's gone. That's Black Panther.
Okay. disagree, but it's okay. The question was, what does Lucasfilm need to do to take advantage of James Earl Jones? All of us say that they should be taking advantage of James Earl Jones in any way possible, in new ways that we haven't even thought of yet. If something pops up, some technology exists that says we can use your voice for the future, and all we need to use to say all these vowels and all of these, and we'd have your voice. Do it.
Mhm.
Then get on top of it. Make him announce, guys, you wouldn't believe what I just did. Vader will be my voice forever, and it's great news. Make him say it himself, so that when he eventually, which we don't want to happen, but when he's no longer with us anymore, we'll be able to look at, oh yeah, he did say this when he was still alive. Great news. And it's not distasteful, and we're not going to worry about that side of Twitter,
But, and hear me out, because this is a pretty big but, I could see Disney exploiting this shit.
Yeah,
NFTs, toys, like how far, how many syllables, how many new lines of dialogue. I'm talking about, like, you want to do the whole English vocabulary through his voice.
Yes.
If they do that shit, it is only a matter of time before they go as far as they can go before everybody loses their mind.
As long as they're compensating the estate, I don't know
that's what I'm saying.
But as long as they're compensating the estate, if they're like, well, we paid already, we own it, then that's a horse of another color. That's just like music to me.
Just saying, how much would you do with a voice? Like, it's like kind of like the Tupac hologram. Like,
I mean,
how
yeah, because you can, because look at it like this. Look at it like this. I'm not saying that we're kind of already getting there. Like recently with the news with Stan Lee, where they were talking about, you CGI cameos and stuff. Like, what?
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
Weird shit.
Wait,
to me, man.
I don't think that's weird.
Anyway.
He's in every movie for one little scene. Let's continue that tradition. It's not wrong. Stanley enjoyed doing these things, so let's just keep the tradition.
No, yeah,
going.
and that's fine. But they're going to have to take. It's not Stanley actually there saying what he wants to say and how he wants. They're about to automate it, digital stuff.
Well, I don't see Stanley saying you should. Do this thing. I think he'll just be in there for funny moments.
They could. I mean, look. Here's the thing, though, and I agree with you. I'm all about it. But what happens with you? What if that now? But here's the other side of that coin. We are human beings. Human beings are awful things, right? So the hacking and then taking and the manipulation of that voice or those images or those that art. Is a dangerous thing, because then you have Stan Lee selling Cadillacs in New Brunswick.
No. So I wouldn't be okay with him endorsing.
That's what I'm saying. That's the darker side of this. Is that when we're done with it, when all of this is said and done, and it gets sold to third party, and then he's selling ads on Facebook, right? That's where I have an issue with it. And we're people, and this is business. These people will do that stuff, and that's my concern with it. Even with the voice of Vader, come down to the Cadillac dealership on Anaheim and 4th for us.
Yeah, dude.
Lightsaber of a deal, right? Like that's you know what I mean? Like that's
where I'm saying,
people. You're one of these people who would have the lightsaber of a deal. What? You didn't just think of that.
That just came out of my head. I'm sorry.
Oh, you got the voice technology. You were just telling me.
Yeah, see, I mean, and I'm just a numbskull. This is Disney. This is the House of Mouse. This is the most inventive company to do with technology to figure out interesting ways to use it. That's all.
We can solve this one. The contract that James Earl Jones would sign would have to have a provision only for Star Wars film.
Right.
Or the film.
It'd have to be something very
exclusive Lucasfilm content. But my point being is, hackers be hackers. All of a sudden, you have an Indian Darth Vader. Oh yes, come down to the in Darth Vader voice, and then
I am your father.
Yeah, I am your father. Like it's happening in Afghanistan, where they make a cartoon and they're using Vader's voice from Disney. James's voice. This is the stuff I worry about, because we are people. We are humans, and people will find a way to manipulate for their own self-interest. That's all.
It's true.
It's dangerous. It's dangerous at the same time as it's
we got good voice actors and good voice impressionists right now who could do that stuff right now. It's just
Sam Witwer.
Yeah, him.
Yep.
That's the guy who was the video game Galen. What's his name?
Yeah, that's Star Killer.
Star Killer.
Galen,
Maul.
Star Killer, and it's Maul.
Oh, I hope they leave that character in that non-canon stuff, because
really though? He's so
Think about,
good.
think about how powerful he is and how much Disney will like have to cut his power level.
Yeah,
But I
his
mean,
make
he
power.
him
still
work
got beat.
in
If
the
you
main canon.
if you're in the game and you play it where he gets beat, like yeah, he gets Vader, but I mean, he dies
I mean,
in the end.
this dude grabbed a Star Destroyer and
I'm
dropped
with
it.
you. He dies
That's
in the
shit,
end of the
though.
first one,
And
right?
even in the second game, he literally flies down, grabs a TIE fighter, and spins it and throws it. I'm like,
Hey, we did see
he's
Razor
a
grabbing a
super
freight out of
force
the
user.
sky though.
This
We
dude
did
is
see,
too
like,
powerful.
Oh, I mean, Ray's the same way. She grabbed a
that's what I'm
ship
saying.
right out the
Grabbed a ship
sky,
right out the sky, man. Like we've seen it,
blew it
on
up.
screen.
But she messed up.
Mhm.
She
But
blew it up.
I like Star Killer so
Yeah,
much
that little-
that character is such a dope, has so much dope potential.
I love him
That's
as a
all.
character, but I
Yeah.
don't
love
want
the
to.
character.
But with like I say with the like I said earlier with the live action Star Wars stuff compared to animated, in animated the Jedis are way more powerful. They actually use their powers how they should. In live action, they're like 1 minute, 1 minute. Oh, they don't. It's like two.
Well, and a
inconsistent.
perfect example of that is the Force speed that they used in Episode 1 and never saw again in the
Right.
entire
Never
entirety of
saw
the
again.
Force, right? So there's a great
Yeah.
example of that. But yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I just love the character.
I love the character, but I in video
And
games
it would have to have been
I'd
a
rather
younger Sam,
keep them in
right?
video games and let them have that.
Like I don't think
I
Sam
want another
Witwer could
Force 3.
do the Star Killer moves right now. He's an older guy. Like you need that young
Yeah.
Ray Park energy. You can't have that
Yeah.
Sam Witwer's my age shit.
Bringing it back to this obsession, because you mentioned Chadwick Boseman and recasting T'Challa, would you feel the same way about Christopher Reeves? He's basically Superman, and he's everything that I would say Chadwick Boseman is to the
Leave
Black
Chris
Panther.
alone. Don't we don't need to see.
Yeah,
don't
I'm the
worry
same
about
way,
it.
man, with Superman. I don't get behind DC a lot. It's not my thing, but to me, Superman will always be Christopher Reeves.
So
Like,
Henry Cavill shouldn't exist, or
I mean, look, I watched
every other time they've recasted shouldn't happen.
I mean, they're gonna recast because they're gonna make money. They're gonna continue these stories. But for me, I mean, I love Christopher Reeves. That's the guy I grew up with. That's like changing Vader's voice in my 20s and making him a lighter, a higher octave voice, right? Like that would change the whole thing for me, and would really screw with me.
Multiverse. That's why DC and Marvel get passes, because they have multiversal versions of these characters.
I
You can't do a multiversal Vader.
Mhm.
You
And that's why I want them to stay away from the world between worlds.
Exactly.
I
Mhm.
think
Exactly.
I've said it.
Slippery slope.
The best way to keep that is that Ezra is the special dude. Like he is the special guy that can get in there and that's it. And that's how they wrap that up, because I don't want them to use that multiverse shit in Star Wars. It's too hard.
it's
too
not
hard.
needed too.
It's not
yeah.
needed. No.
No.
And
It's actually it means like the stakes are missing. It's like
Yeah.
You could just say multiverse. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's-
No, well, and
this
see, look,
character died, but multiverse.
you guys are big Marvel people, right? So like Stan Lee wrote this stuff. This stuff through the years of the comics and the worlds that he created was written with permission from the comic, whatever, right? The grand powers that be. These are stories that have been written for years and years and years, right? So there's source material to pull from what the story that they progressively took.
Yeah, and
over
that's
these
the
years.
reason why you can recast T'Challa, because T'Challa's existed for 50 years prior to Chadwick Boseman
Right,
getting
right.
his hands on him.
But for me as a viewer, I have a hard time taking those. That's why like doing another Ewan would have screwed with me. Recasting Obi-Wan for another Ewan would have screwed with me, right? Some of these characters are anchored in my brain, just like Tony Stark. I have a hard time with anybody but Robert in that suit, right? He's embedded in my brain, and to see something different, it's like a bad taste.
Ewan is just the second Alec Guinness. Like that is a recast right there. I mean, of course,
Right,
he's too old to redo the thing. and
Right.
that helps.
I mean,
But
Hayden's another example, right? Had they recasted Hayden, not a good move. Like people are upset that, or this article,
yeah, because
that I
the
read,
guys are alive to do it. Sure, I would.
Right.
I would prefer the guys who are alive. When
and
it comes
in
to a
still
death, though,
fit form to do it, right? Like if Alec
Exactly.
could have come back and played a younger Obi-Wan with some makeup and stuff, it would have been a different story. But he was far too old to play this role back then when they did the originals, because he was still alive during the prequels, right? Alec?
yes, the
Yeah,
first
so-
movie.
Right, the first movie, right? Episode 1. So I don't think Alec was too old, so they had to recast a younger guy, which they picked somebody great. But I think with if they would have recast Anakin in this one, like Bad move. Bad move.
Alec Guinness died in 2000. He saw the first movie.
Yeah, so he saw the first movie, right? Yeah, I mean, I just think for some of us, there's some characters that the multiverse, the Marvel can and DC can play with these characters a little easier. But I would think, for me in current technology with Chadwick, use that technology they used on Luke, bring in a Shamook, right? And give him a noble death to where we see the suit or the mantle pass on to the next person and give him a ceremonial outing and then recast, right? Because they have the technology to do it. But for me, just recasting out of nowhere is a tough sell, especially with Star Wars.
Facts.
I guess there's no way we're going to see.
No
way we're going to see Count Dooku come back. Jeff Bridges can't play Count Dooku. Or there ain't no more Christopher Lee.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain people we just have to let go of. I mean, we're not going to get another live action animated or a live action Dooku fight,
right? In
a flashback,
Yes, his story is also done. It's not like they had a second Dooku movie.
No. But they could have done flashbacks from the Pikes fight, right? The last time I saw you, my powers have doubled since then.
Yeah.
And that was the fight on the Pike planet during season 7 of Clone Wars, right? Or so
was
that
season 7
or season 5? I think it was season 5 when they were on the Pike.
No, you're not a real Star Wars nerd. I don't want to hear it.
Anyway, they had fought. You could show some of those older scenes in a flashback in that clone armor in live action is what I'm saying, because there will be doing flashbacks to Clone War time in Kenobi, right? And
they better be exactly accurate, Dave Filoni. I better not see taking liberties. Oh, that's not canon. That's just animation canon. I don't want
that. Those were Dave's stories back then. He knows what he's doing. Exactly. Those were Dave was doing the writing back then.
If a lightsaber was blue, it'll be blue.
Honestly, the only thing I think they messed up on with Rebels is just the lightsaber thickness. I think everybody else was perfectly fine with the illustration, but the biggest thing that turned people off is these little things that we're saying, the thin lightsabers.
What were they trying to say? That's a whole different question.
It's just an animation style.
It was just an animation style thing.
They could easily move on from having to show Vader and the Skywalkers ever again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course that requires expanding the list of characters they can bank on. That would not be what they wanted. Brett Favre, the NHL player, right?
Wait, no, that's what they're doing.
Didn't eventually retire, and the NFL didn't fall apart. Neither did the Packers.
Yeah, well, Brett Favre was grossly overrated, so very trend.
But
so would argue that the Green Bay Packers have fallen apart. Skull, go Vikings.
But also at the same time, I mean, they are moving on from those stories. I honestly think bringing Luke into the Mandalorian. Personally, I mean, it's great. I love it. But I think they could have gone on without it. Personally, I think they could have moved forward with the story without him, and not even ushered in this legacy of Shamook with Luke.
I love the idea of getting more new Luke, and it's not looking perfect. It's looking 80% perfect. I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, look, everybody's excited, but I think they could have pushed the story away from the Skywalkers completely during this time and not even brought Luke in and still been a successful story, because
it wouldn't feel like the most successful. It wouldn't feel like the most important story to have something happen in a time period 6 years after Return of the Jedi. If you don't have Luke Skywalker in there, then it is not A tier material. It is something that's happening down there. It's like the Resistance.
Really, that's how you felt. That's how you felt during the first season of Mandalorian. You felt like it was a B tier show for Star Wars, that it didn't feel Star Wars. Because
okay, yeah, you got me.
I disagree with that completely.
While it didn't feel like a B tier show, I mean, knowing that Luke is there, it feels. Still feels more important. It feels like a continuation of the things that I invested in from 1977.
Right, but at the same time, we can't have those statements like they need to move away from the Skywalkers when we get excited that Luke is in this show, when they could have brushed right past him and he's off in the universe collecting artifacts from Palpatine's stores, right? Like him showing up didn't need to happen to progress the Mandalorian story.
Yeah,
that was fan
one. Until they introduced the idea of Grogu having to be reunited with the Jedi, there was no point in season 1 that I was like, you know what this show is missing? Some Luke.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, no, it wasn't. I wasn't even thinking about Luke being a part of that story until they made him a part of the story.
And I'll add to that. We didn't see a single lightsaber until the end of the season.
Facts.
Right. And so don't tell me doesn't feel like Star Wars without lightsabers when we went a whole season and we saw one at the end of the show cutting a TIE fighter up.
There were no Jedi either.
No,
until the finale.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. So I disagree. I think that this story could have gone on without Luke. I think it was a fan service move that is going to push the story into some awesome territory. But I mean, you guys are going to hate this, but bringing Luke in is their way of starting to connect the dots to The Last Jedi.
Yes.
And they're building Luke's temple on the exact temple that's burning down in The Last Jedi is the
I have a really bad feeling about this.
Is the one that the ant robots are building in the Mandalorian in the Boba Fett scenes. So
and that is the most exciting
you're not gonna like
part
it.
about, like, for me personally, that's the most exciting part about Star Wars content that we're getting is that we are finally bridging that gap.
Yep, and people hate it.
And I don't understand why. Because
I want to go home and rethink your life.
I want to go home and rethink my life.
It's the exact same thing they did with the prequels. Because there was a ton of information you didn't know after watching 4, 5, and 6. All of that got filled in with episodes 1, 2, and 3. And no one and people didn't have a problem with the lore that you got. People did not have a problem with the lore. They had a problem with the execution.
And I will accent your point again. They did that exact same thing when they brought the Clone Wars in to fill the gap between 3 and 4.
This is getting out of hand. Now there are 2 of them.
Right.
I've been saying it. People hated the prequels. People hated the Clone Wars. They're going to do the exact same thing, filling the gap, and then people are going to love the sequels. And The Last Jedi will be the best sequel movie of the 3.
Yes.
So uncivilized.
All facts right there.
No, I've been saying this.
And then when Ryan Johnson's trilogy gets announced, the fandom's going to lose their mind.
Okay, I'm out. That's where you lost me.
Bro, and I'm not trying to go in on the Ryan Johnson shit, but people forget.
He's one of them.
Thanks, Eric.
People forget Daisy Ridley's interview. They did not know who the papa was going to be even a week before she went to shoot it. You're blaming Ryan Johnson for that?
Yeah.
I'm blaming Ryan Johnson for Luke Skywalker, period.
Well, that's and the time gap. They chose to go 30 years into the future. That's not his fault.
Look, I know the sequels get a lot of hate, right? I know they do, and warranted. Look, I am not a denier and saying these are the best movies ever. I will not say those words out loud. However, I will say that the man behind the steering wheel now, the man that's captaining the ship, I guarantee has thought this out in depth, and he is going to connect the Luke we see now to the Luke we see in The Last Jedi, and we are going to see him break on screen. That scene where we may get Mark Hamill back in that scene with R2 again, and watch the moment he decides I'm done. I try and try and try and try. I'm done.
Can I say one more thing?
And that's when he becomes, because it's a PTSD thing, man.
Yes.
PTSD thing.
Okay.
One more thing, man. These fans.
Is that illegal?
I don't want my Luke to be depressed and separate him from the Force. Oh, my Obi-Wan should be depressed and separate himself from the Force.
There you go. Thank you.
Wait a minute. The last time we saw Luke, he succeeded and did something great.
Bro.
The last time we saw Obi-Wan,
the fans, bro,
he failed. Right. But to think that you can't go from extreme highs to extreme lows in life is unrealistic.
But you have to think about something. The last time we saw, so to your point, Chillmonger, last time we saw Obi-Wan was at what point? Like in terms of live action, we saw him.
It was Qui-Gon. That was the last scene we saw him.
Right. So, but it was basically the Revenge of the Sith, right?
Yeah.
No, it's when he gave the baby over.
Yeah. Right. So, but when and this takes place where the Obi-Wan story is going to take place. How long after that?
10 years.
10 years. How long was it between the Return of the Jedi, where we last saw Luke succeed?
30 years.
Luke be at 30 years, bro. You know how much changes in 30 years?
Yeah, I do know what it was that changed.
People go through.
I know it's not a mystery of, I wonder what he went through. I saw what he went through, and I disapprove of it.
Well, I mean, he's only following in all of his master's footsteps.
Facts,
right? Like he's
literally
no
one's going to change anyone's mind on this. And
no,
we asked the 33rd question.
You can be wrong. That's okay.
I just say he watched Yoda do it. He watched Kenobi do it, and when they fail, they exile, and that's just unfortunately the Jedi way. And he was of anything.
And Luke knew more than all of them, bro. He knew that he was able to actually pull himself out of the Force and take power away from the dark side. His only failing there was that he, like most Jedi, don't understand the fact that the Force will find its vessels, and the awakening happens whether you choose to believe it will or not.
Right.
Luke is that vessel.
It'll happen time and time again.
For me, the last point I'll make about the Luke situation is I have zero issue with what Rian Johnson decided to do with Luke.
Yeah.
I have every issue with the execution because you didn't give fans the payoff to get to the point where Luke is the hermit.
You told us, you didn't show us.
Right. You told us about it.
Just
but we
like
didn't
George did.
He didn't get the build up. Thank you. Exactly. And then he went back and he gave us the build up to Anakin turning to Vader. And that's
they're doing it again.
That was exactly. They're going to do the same thing again.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree. Rian Johnson that whole thing up. But it's now they're going back and they're course correcting. I don't have a problem with that. And like to Obsession's point, we're gonna go back and look at Last Jedi in 30 years and be like, this is one of the most underappreciated Star Wars movies of all time.
I think
they give us proper context to that movie.
I really believe that it will age as well as Christian Haydenson has aged.
Facts.
I really do. I think that the love for these movies in potentially 20 years, I really do think that this movie will have aged well. And I think just like Hayden, there will be a appreciation for it. I really
Showmonger.
It will
If
never
you don't
age
think
well. And I will
rewatch
this one.
I hope
I'm
we're
about to
friends
play
in
this
20
scene.
years because I want to be friends and you say, man, that movie was pretty good after all, and that's all. I'm just looking for pretty good. I'm not looking for great and epic.
Right.
And
So long as we have this scene here.
But talent without training is nothing.
We shall see.
What are you gonna say, Scott?
We could be here all day. I don't want.
Yeah, we can. I love talking about this shit. We could
literally
be here
like Shamook is bringing young Luke back. You're going to get Luke, Ben Solo. You're going to get encounters with the Knights of Ren, not the people that we saw in the sequels. You're going to meet Ren with a red lightsaber, hunting other people who are Force sensitive and killing them. Like the Knights of Ren are older than all of the stories we know, bro. You're going to get Luke Skywalker meeting them.
I hope so.
Yeah. I think there's going to be a lot of great stories coming. And the fact that Mark Hamill is interested in coming back, I think is the greatest illustration of hope, because he was so distasteful at the end of the sequels that he vocalized it immensely. And I feel like the fact that he's coming back on set to do these things with Favreau and Filoni, that's the beacon of hope.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so why everyone upset about Boba? And this man was left for dead.
I love it. I love the current Boba.
I had no issues with Boba,
but yeah,
I'm the odd duck here.
No issues with it, man. Like,
not really.
I
am Showmonger. You know where to find me. You know who I am. Next, we got Hawks Holocrons. What's going on your channel? Plug yourself. Tell them what's happening over in your side of YouTube.
I'm just starting to like mess with the StreamYard and stuff. I feel like most of my theory talk and show talk's going to be panels like this. But what I'm focusing on is gaming, really. Beta testing, new first-person shooters. Escape from Tarkov. It's kind of my jam. That's going to be like a career thing. I might even do a second channel with it, but that's a game I'm into a lot right now. So,
and if we want to join the main gang, what do we do?
Oh, well, first off, we let the homie Freddie Roy hit it with the sauce.
Because if you ain't got the sauce, that's your loss.
Right, man. Yeah, we're doing a lot over on our channel, man. We're on almost every social you could think of: TikTok, Twitter, shoot, just name it. We're probably on it. And except for OnlyFans, we ain't on OnlyFans.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. Anyway,
time's getting harder.
Hey, man, gas go up anymore, bro. And I might be doing some ASMR eating or something.
Start a Twitch channel.
But man, Saturday nights, man, 9:30 Eastern time. Check us out on the YouTube, man. We be in there cutting up just like this,
just like Pearl Milling Company.
I see where that live chat came from earlier. The Star Wars Obsession is also here, and if we want to follow you, it's the Star Wars Obsession.
Correct.
What do you got
let's
cooking?
We got a lot cooking. Well, we're going to Celebration. That's the number one thing on the menu right now. I got to break down this whole Megillah because we're taking the show on the road. Me and Sheev the Wise are going to be doing some interesting stuff at Celebration. I think we're going to maybe do some scavenger hunts or something like that to give away some passes to Celebration. So that's on the menu. We're going to be doing some man on the street interviews at Celebration live.
Cosplayers
In the lines, cosplayers and what brought them there and all that. So we're going to be doing some I'm going to do interviews in the line.
Can I ask you to do something? Go to people and say, who's the fool or the one who follows him? Ask them that question.
I will. That'll be the last question I ask. I will. But yeah, we're going to be doing that on my channel, on Sheev's channel. We're going to basically trade off. I'm going to shoot for him. He's going to do some interviews. He's going to shoot for me. We're going to do some interviews. We're going to walk that floor. We're going to collect some fun stuff. We're going to be at all these panels. So yeah, Celebration is the next 10 days of life. Right now we are doing a Marvel Darth Vader comic book run through. We do 3 episodes a day. In fact, I'll do one here in a little bit. We do 3 issues a day leading up to Kenobi because that's very important content for Kenobi. I feel like that's the homework that is unknown to the masses. There's a lot of Inquisitor stories in there. There's a lot of Vader after he dons his suit in there. So
he's actually getting to the comics right now. We're starting to tap into all the Padme stuff. So
yep. So we're getting into we're getting into that. We're building Legos. We're collecting. We're bounty hunting. I mean, there's all kinds of. We're doing lore. Yeah, dude, we're doing all kinds of stuff. We're just having a good time. We're trying to help promote.
He might be obsessed.
We're helping promote other channels. That's a big part of what we do. We need, we got Sheev up to 1,000 subscribers yesterday. That was a lot of work, but
it was all thanks to my tweet at 6:45.
It was all about it. I mean, we couldn't have done it without you. And yeah, dude, that's what we're here to do. We're here to help bring positivity back to the space, one little tiny blip of radar at a time. So that's it.
Thanks. Check us all out, and we are out of here.